Bigspin Podcast, thanks so much for tuning back in. Today is a super special episode because you already know who I am, FB.Christopher, or if you ask Dave England, Facebook.Christopher. But I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, Nash from Sorry for Fingerboarding.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. Thank you for the intro. Thank you for having me. It's been a long time coming.
Hell yeah.
We've been in Germany. Didn't happen. We've been in Chicago. Didn't happen. I've been routinely through this area,
SoCal.
and it still didn't happen. And here we are in Huntington Beach, our stomping grounds for the last 11 years. Our initial Sorry event started here.
Oh, yeah.
And just behind that wall, we have a zoo of Sorry riders in all shapes, sizes, colors, people, whatever you want to call them, right behind us, raising ruckus.
Yeah.
So,
and for context, what were we celebrating today at Grinders?
So today at Grinders, we were celebrating our 11 years of Sorry.
Hell yeah.
We initially got started in 2013 December.
Damn.
Doing a contest called the Bomb in a Bowl on Fairfax in Hollywood.
Alva's fucking crazy.
Yeah, crazy name. Alva's old gallery. And I'll never forget it. It was like 12 people competing. It was only a contest. There was no session.
Damn.
And I myself, Chris from Bigspin, and Andy Hick from Blackriver, we were the three judges. And it was a really cool event. And out of maybe those like 12, 15 people that competed that day, we saw 2 of them here today, and still seeing about 5 of them still in touch in the scene, you know, from that early stepping stone of our relationship with Blackriver and our start as Sorry.
Hell yeah. It's almost like a full circle moment. Because not to jump too far ahead and start talking about like Sorry, but more specifically like the Sorry events, I feel like I'll see pictures of them from like super like years and years ago. And some of the old heads, and I say that respectfully, of the community are like young kids in those pictures.
Yeah. I mean, that's what was so cool today was like a perfect example of like seeing people grow in the scene and just grow with the brand. Would be like White Mike. White Mike started in, or not in, but like at Sorry in, you know, it's in Huntington Beach. It's his hometown, and he would bring a step stool for his son, and his son's like 15 years old now, but he doesn't need the step stool anymore. You know, he mixes into the scene just like anyone else. But we've watched people grow up. You know, and like old heads. There's people like myself or like some of the guys on the team. You know, they've grown up through the brand.
Hell yeah. And actually, we just did the White Mike pod, and we just talked about that. How his wife and son stumbled upon a Sorry event, and we're like, yo, you got to come down here. He shot down and just changed his life. Yeah.
I mean, that like his wife told me that today was like, you know, they changed their life forever coming to the event right there in Old World.
And just figuring it out.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, like you said, Nash, we obviously have been trying to get the podcast done forever. It hasn't happened. Now we're here. For context, it's like 9 at night. I was like 40 minutes late thanks to the 605. My bad about missing dinner. But let's do this. I want to start at the beginning because normally these podcasts kind of go in like a real structure way. But I'm going to be honest with you, Nash. Like Nash as a fingerboarder yourself could be its own one fucking 2-hour podcast without even touching on the brand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So forgive me in advance if it seems like we're jumping around and just kind of hopping around because it really was one of those things where I was like, there's no way to like chronologically get all this down in one go. So let's just do our best to start at the beginning, and then we'll just fill in the blanks. Let's talk about Baby Nash, moment of conception.
All right. Yeah. So fingerboarding for me has been around as long as I can remember. I had fingerboards since before there was tech decks. I always bring it up. I need to just carry like a picture in my wallet because I still have the original boards that my dad got for me. Yeah. They're called flip boards.
Those like plastic?
They're like plastic see-through.
Okay.
And then they're not the keychain ones though. They look like old school like Hosoi style shaped boards.
Yeah.
And then I had the keychain ones, obviously. But my dad was making ramps here in La Mirada, not La Mirada, Los Alamitos, Area 51 skate shop, right across the street from the high school, next to the subway and the Sizzler, this little corner. And he was building skateboard ramps for them. But with the scrap wood, he was making me fingerboard ramps. So I had something to play with. So I still at my house have a half pipe that I've had and owned since I was 2 years old.
Damn.
And, you know, that's my first fingerboard ramp. I still have those early fingerboards. So, like, if you go, like you said, the earliest point, that's like 2 years old.
What came first for you, skateboarding or fingerboarding?
Skateboarding.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
was
100%
that from your
skateboarding.
pops?
Yeah, because my dad was skating and like making those ramps. So,
Hell yeah.
in our backyard, we lived in Norwalk. We had like
shit.
a little mini skate park in the backyard, but it was really just like the ramps. He built like a few kickers and like a pyramid slap curb. So it was like a triangle with two PVCs, like a shotgun on top.
Yeah, a little shotgun on top.
Yeah, and he was making those like slide rails. So
Damn.
we had like those in the backyard all the time. And
Okay.
skateboarding since I can remember.
Hell yeah. Let's talk about your first skateboard.
Oh man,
Everyone remembers their first skateboard.
I don't, because I was so young, because like my
Okay.
dad just grabbed something for me. I remember like some of my favorite skateboards from when I was
There you
younger. I don't remember the first one. It was probably some Nash board because of the name. And you know, those are kind of like shitty boards. But with the name, it's, you know, fitting for both me
Kinda
and
fits.
him. And he probably grabbed at the swap me like a vintage board,
Hell
you know,
yeah.
at the time.
Give me like your most memorable skateboard, graphic wise.
Yeah. So because of my dad working in the skateboard world,
Yeah.
I had these boards that were called Minor Threat, and it was like a subsidiary of Web Trucks, which was the owner of Area 51's brand. So I had like this whole thing, and had like an airplane on it with flames, very 2000s graphic, like shooting, you know, real, like Minor Threat, like some crazy shit. But I had a lot of World Industries boards growing up too, because my dad would get them from the shop.
Yeah.
With the Web Trucks and I was riding like Speed Demons because it came in swirls.
Okay.
That was cool.
Okay.
So I remember those boards, but I had a lot of Minor Threats because they made minis.
Okay.
So since I was skating, since I was so young, the minis were a cool size. The World Industries ones, you know. So this is a kind of a crazy story. There was like an Everslick one, and it's the one where they're shooting each other, Wet Willie and Flame Boy, and they're shooting each other, and the logo's in the middle.
Oh, okay.
So I have that board in every size. I have it from a real skateboard, and on the top, the grip tape matches.
Yeah.
But since it's a slick board, the graphic
You've
never
posted
went
that
away.
once, right?
Yeah. So I have that one. I have the handboard. I have the fingerboard. I have a mini one, and then I have another mini one.
Damn.
And then someone made me a wooden one. So I have
That's
like
fucking
multiple
crazy.
versions of it. Yeah.
Would you say World Industries was your favorite brand? Like, what was your favorite
when I
skate
was
brand?
young?
Okay.
Yeah. When I was like a kid, I loved the graphics. And my parents were like picking my graphics, you know?
Hell yeah.
But then like I did like hookups. But my parents weren't buying me those graphics.
I was
They
about to
did,
say,
and then it got returned.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what else? Consolidated. I like Consolidated a lot when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Because some of those guys were at our local skate park, and they really repped it. And then I've always been like a huge fan of like Label and Anti-Hero.
Hell
just
yeah.
you know, with the scene I grew up in and old like Pool and punk dudes, like those are kind of the brands I
I was about to
gravitated
say,
to.
that ties into like punk music and stuff like that.
Yeah. And then, you know, as I got older, original time like skateboarding, like my teenage years, it was all Crew and Baker. You know, it kind of transitioned. But then I got older and found skateboarding again. I went right back to like Label, Anti-Hero,
Hell
like
yeah.
all that.
Return to the roots.
yeah.
Hell yeah. Did you play a lot of Tony Hawk?
For a while, yeah, but like
Who was
I
your
don't
go-to? Who's your go-to? It says a lot about a person.
Damn. Okay, so it depends what game, right? Because
Tony
you
Hawk
have
1.
So
Tony
if
Hawk
I
1.
have number one, I always probably picked Muska or Rune Glifberg.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, they had
Dude,
like
I was a fucking room
they had the coolest outfits. Like
Yeah, the
Rune had
blue
the basketball
blue
jersey.
jersey. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, and he had a cool vert skater from Copenhagen.
There you
Muska
go.
had the red jersey. I don't know why I was picking fucking basketball
fucking jerseys
dude.
hit different,
You
bro.
know,
The jerseys just hit with the fucking boombox.
Tony Hawk's so cool, but his outfit kind of
Yeah.
was sus in the first
Fucking-
one.
The gray birdhouse shirt with the black pants.
The black pants. It's just because it's bad graphics. It's a sick outfit.
A sick outfit in real life.
Just, you know, bad graphics.
Shout out Tony.
Yeah, who else? I mean, oh, dude. So I guess this was January. So 4 months ago.
Hell yeah.
I had just met Kareem Campbell.
Did you really?
Yeah, and
Dude,
when
nollie hard flip
I
or nollie
realized
ghetto birds are
I realized
legendary.
when I met him,
Yeah.
I had just finished meeting everyone
From the
from
first
the first game. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah.
And
So
Kareem's crazy,
yeah,
bro.
so I've now met everyone.
Let me ask you a question,
Mm-hmm.
totally off the wall. And I ask because I know that you're like a big skate nerd when it comes to tricks and stuff, respectfully.
Yeah.
When it comes to the ghetto bird, is that specifically only a nollie hard flip, like late?
Yeah, if you're a
180?
big nerd, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I've heard that argument.
Like,
It's
hey,
like,
no,
no,
ghetto bird is
has to be.
nollie frontside hard flip.
There you go.
The other way, people say, oh, dude, ghetto bird, and they're doing Muska flip.
Okay.
Regular hard flip.
Right.
Regular frontside hard.
Right.
Really turned over, really floated. Muska
Yeah.
flip. Nollie hard flip on the bank is a ghetto bird. But call it whatever the fuck you want. Have fun fingerboarding.
Hell
You know, I'm so like over all the rules. I was at one point. I've even know what I've said and other shit. And I'm just like, oh, I feel so cringe about it now. Like, just go have fun. Like,
Just have fun
like
with it.
at least have fun, but be intentional. Like, I don't need to see a 720 flip to like full hand front board.
Hell yeah.
Like, be intentional with your trick.
Yeah.
You know,
The flick and pray. How long from the point you start fingerboarding
yeah.
till when is it acceptable to flick and pray and post it as a clip?
Post them all. I started filming. I didn't have like a camera, but I used a webcam on like my laptop and like raise it up and
Yeah.
try to film my session.
No
and
shit.
a lot of those were like, you know, flip and pray and
Yeah.
hope I catch it. You know,
Damn.
unless it was like ollies into grinds.
Yeah.
But then with that, I'd be able to watch it and like see my flow, and then eventually I was learning the timing of tricks and
Yeah.
being able to catch them. And
You see some of the
whatnot.
people that fucking way back in the day were using like Nintendo. Was it DS? The one that little camera?
Yeah,
the little flip one and they-
DS. Yeah, DS because SP didn't have a camera.
Yeah. And that dude, those clips are fucking magical, especially now.
Yeah.
We were at Slush Cold a couple of months ago, and some kid was walking around getting clips of the homies on his fucking DS.
Sick. Yeah, I've been like trying to figure out how to film a screen record video for my Game Boy camera.
That would be crazy.
I still got my Game
camera.
Boy camera and printer like from when it came out. I was in
Really?
first grade. Yeah.
Damn. You just save all that stuff?
Yeah, my parents didn't throw anything away.
God damn.
Yeah, there's very little things I don't still have.
God damn.
That's like people will say like, "Oh, do you remember this?" And they're like, "No, I still have it, so I don't need to remember it." You know, like
Damn.
it's kind of crazy. It's fucked up because it's ruined me as I've gotten older because I can't throw away things.
yeah. There you
Hoarding,
go.
just hoarding.
You know what it is? I wouldn't call myself a hoarder, but I always tell my wife, like, I just give like unrealistic like feelings to shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
oh, yeah,
Like I'm like,
dude.
oh, I can't throw that cup away because it's
We
like,
could talk about that for 3 hours if
oh
you want.
hell yeah.
No,
We
I
just give
get
this
it.
whole pot about fucking
Just
giving
over
inanimate
attachment.
things.
Yeah,
hell yeah.
And if people are like, just take a picture of it and like forget about it and like put it in your Flickr or something, like, dude, I can't do that.
Hell
Like
no.
I'll see that picture and be like, dude, I wish I still
miss
fucking
it.
had that.
Yeah, hell.
I remember that.
When it's
you know?
there, it's like you don't even touch it, don't need it, don't see it. But when it's gone, you notice.
Yeah, what do they say? Does it spark joy? Like, yeah. And I still won.
And I still won. God damn.
I don't want to be spark joy today. You know?
Wrapping up skateboarding.
Yeah.
Because obviously we've all taken gnarly slams. Tell me about your gnarliest slam.
Oh, man. Gnarliest slam skating.
I know you have to have some, Nash.
I have a lot. I don't know.
Because you have a couple injuries under your belt.
Yeah, more than a couple.
Was
But
the
they're
mo-
not
was the
all
most
from,
recent-
They're not all from skating. That's the problem.
Yeah. Well, no, when we were in Germany, fucking not to jump way
when
fucking
I,
ahead.
when I fell out of the RV.
You fell out of the bro.
Yeah.
When we were doing the we're in the back and they're talking to us about announcing.
Yeah.
You can see it, bro.
I was
you can
dying,
see it
bro.
on your face.
My
bro.
knee was so fucked up. Yeah.
could
Excuse
see it.
my language. But yeah, my knee was torn, and it was from a car accident, and my knee is still torn. So yeah, that didn't help.
Damn.
But skateboarding, I don't know. I might go over a few. They're not like all the gnarliest, but Combi Pool, rest in peace. It was at the Vans Park in Orange.
Was that the block?
Yeah.
That's closed now.
Yeah, it's gone.
Damn.
We were there in January. Me and Ryan, who's behind us behind the wall.
Behind the wall.
We were there for the final contest, and it almost felt like a burial of your best friend.
Hell yeah, dude.
But I skated it so many times, and it's 12 feet deep, and it's 2 feet of vert, or maybe a foot and a half of vert. And I'd always frontside grind in the round, and I'd skate it with knee pads. So if I fell, I'd go knee slide, and just typical vert stuff.
Right.
And one time in that bowl, so it's not like the gnarliest, but it hurt, and I couldn't get up for a minute, was I was doing frontside grind, and I hung up, and I went to knee slide, but I didn't have knee pads on. So
That's the worst.
yeah, just
Damn.
skinned up my knees.
So you were a big vert skater?
Yeah, I really just like skating transition for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like it shows in your fingerboarding.
Yeah, I mean, especially if we're fingerboarding a pool or something, it's
Yeah.
like I'm envisioning where your feet go on those tricks and the timing and how
Yeah.
you pop on them. So it's definitely there.
There's not too many people that can put out like a 2-minute long edit of transitions fingerboarding.
Yeah, it feels
and
crazy.
make it look stylish.
I always say that it takes a different skill because now you're training your hand to do tricks vertically,
Yeah.
not just up and down.
You posted I want to say you were in Texas at Good Vibes.
Dude, that
And you posted that edit.
blew up.
I
Yeah.
know. I remember, bro, I was probably all the fucking views. I
Dude.
watched that shit so many times. I remember
Yeah.
Andy sent it to me, and I was like, bro, I already saw it.
Dude, it's so crazy. Yeah, that really blew up on the big mini, right?
Yeah.
Just a minute 30-second line.
It was nasty.
And I was just flowing. I wasn't for filming. Someone was just filming. I was
That's
just
that's
skating.
the fucked up part. That's someone's entire like whole fucking fingerboard career.
I was
And
just
you're
skating.
just skating fucking
Yeah.
around.
Yeah. I'm just coming back to another injury. I was learning frontside roll-ins over coping
Why would you roll in over coping? That just sounds fucked up.
just to get faster, I guess. You know?
Okay.
Instead of just dropping in, you're going in with momentum.
Okay.
And I had figured out a way how to do it. And someone, I don't know, maybe I was doing with Omar at the HB Park. And he's like, well, kind of shift around and like pretend you're going in backside even though you're going in front side. And when he said that, it clicked. And I was going in. But I rode really loose trucks to where they kind of wobbled.
Yeah.
And I got wheel bite on the way in. And I just smacked my head so hard, like literally like
dude.
7 feet to flat.
Oh,
And I was
damn.
like, fuck. And I was like, I've had really bad concussions. I fractured my skull and whatnot. So like when I get another ring in my bell, it just hurts so bad.
Damn.
And I took my helmet off, and you had to wear helmets at that park.
Yeah.
You didn't have your helmet on. It was like I threw my helmet at the guy.
Yeah.
And I was like, don't fucking talk to me. And I
that's the
skated out
worst.
of there. But dude, I was like so concussed. I was seeing black and white for a while.
Damn.
Until I came back.
Sin
and-
stars.
yeah. So
That's wild.
It's not the first time my vision's gone black and white. It's always scary because I don't know if it'll come back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So
Hell yeah.
that one hurt too.
God damn.
Yeah, chipped both my elbows skating too.
How do you chip a fucking elbow? Talking about the weenus?
Yeah, basically.
Damn.
It's just like in here.
Oh, hell no.
Both sides at one time too.
Oh, that's
Different
the
falls,
worst.
but like I knew one side was bad,
Yeah.
so I wouldn't fall on that side, and I took
Yeah.
it to the other side.
Oh, hell
Just
no,
fall like
dude.
a log all the time. That my dad used to say that. Oh, you just fall like a log. You don't roll. You don't spring up. He's like, you just slam. And I'm like,
That's crazy. Because you know what? Skateboarding, a lot of people don't realize this. And I know it to a non-skater, this may not sound like it makes sense, but you actually learn how to fall.
yeah,
when
you
you're
do.
skating.
And because I skated with pads for so long, I just go to my knees to knee slide since we're skating a lot of vert.
Yeah.
But if I didn't have it,
Yeah.
I didn't like train to fall on my back or run it outside.
That's
Just
true.
go to my side and take
Damn.
them to my elbow all the time. Just big swell bow and stuff.
That's
it
fucking
sucked,
crazy. It's fucking the kidney shots.
dude. Yeah, it hurt.
That's
Everything
fucking
hurt.
crazy. Do you feel like because you skated so much when you were younger, that's like transitioned into how well you fingerboard as far as like style and trick selection?
Maybe not because of the skating. I always cared for my dad's input. And then my dad's an old skater, and he made sure I knew who the older skaters were when I was young. So he always said, like, don't have, like, a sloppy style.
Yeah.
You know, don't slam your stuff. Like, try to float everything and, like, be consistent.
Yeah.
So with him telling me that and, kind of just wanting, like, his approval or his, him to be stoked too, I took that really young.
Yeah.
So that's where I think I get my fingerboard style. And I know some of my stuff doesn't have like the cleanest landings at time. We all go through it, but like when it's there, it's locked in and
Hell
everything
yeah.
was with intent and like it feels right. You
Hell
know?
yeah.
Yeah.
To someone who may be listening that's like early on in their fingerboarding, when we talk about style on a fingerboard, how would you describe that to someone?
Style on a fingerboard is a bunch of things, and I guess we're filming so I can kind of explain it. So like people fingerboard open. That's kind of like a beginner stance, like
Yeah.
a real open hand. A more professional approach is, with your fingers tucked. So that way you have the two fingers.
With 2 fingers.
I always put my left hand behind my back almost all the time. Just it looks cleaner. I don't know. You used to see like Elias Asma do it. It was like he's one of the best I think in the world.
Hell yeah.
And so fingerboard like this, but also people will still do this, but fingerboard flat. And I think you have to bend your fingers like the same way you bend your knees. And if you can, when you have a fingerboard, like try to bend like you have ankles.
Damn.
And that's what gives you vert tricks, because you're now using pressure to hang and keep the board, So like
you're blowing my mind right now.
I call it dancing on the coping, and I pretend even when I'm like air fingerboarding, like like the tricks with the intent of like where your tricks snap.
Yeah.
So then when I use the board, it's like front blunt, nose pick to Smith, to back up to front blunt.
Damn.
To 180 disaster.
Okay.
Rock it back to nose blunt and come back. But then if I had a fingerboard, I could do it all on the lip of this table. Put me in the pool, I could do it on top of the coping.
God damn.
But all of those movements have intent, or like the hand plant, like how are you going to point your finger? Like people sometimes grab with the wrong part of their hand. Like how are you going to do it?
Yeah.
So that's where I think the style is, because one thing that I always hate about a game of skate is if you pop a front side flip and you catch it midair, but the other guy gets the trick and it counts, but he reverted half on the table. And I probably have my own moments on certain tricks like that too.
You don't believe in reverts?
I do, but I'm saying like we're talking about style.
Okay.
Especially if it's a vert game of skate.
Okay.
And some people power slide into like a front side Smith. Why not pop into it and stand up on top? Don't do it open.
Because it's harder, Nash.
It's so hard, but that's the style. That's the differences in someone's style. It's like open hand, flat hand, bend your wrist, or point on top. Like, where are you going to do it? So it's like anyone will adapt the style, but like that's where I get it. Like if we're going to front Smith, I'm going to ride it like this, up and point. But someone will just power slide into it.
Hell yeah. I'm guilty.
However you want to do it,
Yeah, hell yeah. There you go. If fingerboarding wasn't, or vice versa, if skateboarding wasn't something that somebody grew up with, as far as like what they did as a hobby or as like a pastime, do you feel like they can fully love and appreciate fingerboarding?
Yeah, because it's still a skill. Okay. It's just a miniature skill.
I like that, miniature skill.
Yeah. Like, I think being a skateboarder helps becoming a fingerboarder. I don't think you need to be a skateboarder to fingerboard, because you could learn the knowledge of a trick through fingerboarding, or like even playing skate,
Yeah. Hell yeah.
There's so much outlets now.
Hell yeah. Talk to me about your first, because we talked about like the plastic boards and stuff like that. We obviously talked about tech decks, and I know we're jumping around and stuff like that, but fill me in on like the early days when you switch over to tech decks, and you're starting to make your own ramps and stuff like that. The transition between tech decks and then discovering like wooden fingerboards.
Okay. Well, earlier you asked me about my first skateboard, and like I tell you, I don't remember.
Probably all the concussions.
Well, yeah, and being so young.
Okay.
But I remember my first tech deck. And my first tech deck was a toy machine board. It had Turtle Boy on it. And this is where a lot of my inspiration for my graphic came.
Okay.
So the TV Man is a tribute to Turtle Boy. So he's in a yellow T-shirt and blue pants, or blue shorts. They're shorts.
Okay.
Because the Turtle Boy on my first tech deck was wearing a yellow T-shirt, blue pants, orange shoes. And on that particular graphic, his heart's cut out. His chest has a square with the heart in the middle, which is my logo because it's a tribute.
Yeah.
Same colorway, TV guy. And he's thinking about a girl on the top of the nose of the board.
Yeah.
So with that being my first tech deck and always remembering it, I wanted to pay tribute when I had drawn the TV guy. Oh, man. I drawn the TV guy in 2010 before Sorry existed. Yeah. So I already had the drawing, and that's where the inspiration came from.
Yeah. Was it just a random doodle? Because I've always kind of
totally random
I hate jumping ahead. Like, I haven't even talked about Sorry yet, but where does the TV play in? Like, kill your TV and
because TV kills. Like it was a play on like smoking kills, like those Truth commercials, and I just always think like when I was younger, I grew up without internet or like I'd go to the public library to use a computer.
Well, you're gonna fucking age us, Nash.
Yeah, well, I mean, my parents, like, we didn't have a lot of money, so like we didn't have internet, we didn't have a computer.
Hell yeah.
And so yeah, go to the library to use the computer for 45 minutes, whatever they gave me.
Hell yeah.
And I always thought, like, since I didn't grow up with it, TV kills or the internet kills, because instead of like going out and doing your own passion or doing your own thing, you're watching someone else do it through a screen, which might be something someone only has. Like, I realized that when I'm older, but when I was younger, I was like, nah, like, I need to go do all the dope shit I can.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting on front of a screen. So that's why it was like it kills, because you're killing your time.
I feel that.
Yeah, yeah.
Killing your brain cells.
And that's why, like, he's smoking. It's all a play on
he's
it.
Smoking.
It's a TV smoking. You know, he's killing.
Okay.
He's killing himself. So yeah, I remember my first tech deck. But you asked about my first time like transitioning into wooden boards.
Like wooden board. Yeah. What was that experience like for you?
I saw on G4 Attack of the Show. They posted Fast Fingers, 2006, 2007. So it's probably clips from Pissing Fingers, like the DVD, if they found it on YouTube.
Yeah.
And that was how I found Blackriver, because of all their logos on the tape. And that's how I was able to find fingerboarding, wood boards. I found it at my grandma's house. My grandma had internet, and my grandma had cable, and that's how I found.
Shout out grandmas.
Yeah, shout out to the grandma for having that. So I saw it there, because I wouldn't have seen that at home.
Yeah,
and I was able, because they had internet, I was able to search it immediately after seeing it.
Yeah.
And that's how I found Fingerflip, which introduced me to all the wood boards and the brands. And my first wooden board I bought, not one that we just made.
Yeah.
Was some deck. It was called like Flick Decks. It was out of Texas.
Damn. Okay.
Don't even know if the guy still exists. But it was like, have you seen the Baby Beast?
Yeah.
Smaller than that.
Damn.
And the shaping was pretty horrible. And it was like 24,
hopefully that guy doesn't exist anymore.
24 wide. I mean, I probably still have it. If anyone saw it, it would be like, whoa, that's a weird one.
That's a weird one.
But I'd pay like $20, sent cash in the mail. Like,
I was about
like,
to say, bro. So many people talk about you just send cash and just pray you get a board in 6 months.
And I got it like a month later, and I was not happy. And my dad made fun of me because I wasted my money, but he had already started making me boards, and they were better. So yeah, that was like 2006, and then me and my dad were making so many boards, trying to figure it out.
We'll talk about that. Talk about the start of it though. Like, so was it you saying, "Hey, Dad, make me a fingerboard," or was your dad saying, "I can do that"?
I'm not gonna pay 35 euros for you to buy a board. I can make that.
Yeah.
That was the argument. And it's like, okay, well, let's go try and make it. And we went to the library and we watched the YouTube video on how to make a mold, and we still didn't make a mold. Or you could press wood in between two tech decks with C-clamps, and that was our first attempt, and that's what we've tried. Then
Do you do the Bondo molds?
Then we did the Bondo molds.
Yeah.
And then we had like 5 Bondo molds eventually. They were all the same mold. So we could have like production.
Yeah.
But
when you talk production,
our wood
though,
changed.
When you talk production, though, are you talking production because or at least the thought of a company was already like in the back of your mind?
Back in the day, it used to be called Fuck Your Couch. Fuck Your Couch Fingerboards.
Really?
FYC Fingerboards.
Fuck your couch.
Yeah,
Okay.
like Rick James, you know?
Yeah,
He said, buy a new one, you rich motherfucker.
Yeah, was
like
that Chappelle?
Yeah, it was 100% inspired from that. And FYC Fingerboards was born, and I'd sell them at school for $7. And
Damn.
it was $7 for a board and 10 for a complete.
10 for a complete.
Yeah, it was just tech deck.
And fuck inflation. Now it's like 150 for a complete.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, Blackriver trucks didn't exist. We tuned our own trucks with all the little screws, and it was a whole different thing back then.
God damn. Well, talk to me a little bit about this, because so even now, I guess making decks, not so much now, because now there's so many outlets to teach you how to make a deck. But and I hate to age us, but like way back in the day when even internet, you had to go to the library and stuff. 2-part question here.
Yeah.
Now you can discover fingerboarding on Instagram by literally just searching the term fingerboarding.
Right.
But back in the day, to find out about events or companies, or you couldn't just hop on like Instagram and search that shit. How were you networking? Like, how did you kind of find like-minded people? And again, sorry to jump around here, but just to kind of go in here, how did you find that information? And then the second part of it was when your dad started making the board. How did he just figure it the fuck out? The countersinks, the rounding, like how do you just?
Yeah, so the first part of your question, we really relied on forums. So forums and like message boards, a little different than Discord, almost Discord.
Give me an idea. I've heard people talk about forums. What the fuck is a forum?
I don't know.
Maybe I'm just too young.
Old people shit. I don't know. They always felt homemade. They always looked like shit. None of them ever looked that good.
God damn.
And it was like you would get like a little Word box that you could put HTML code in if you want to like post a picture or like host a link.
Wow.
You would share your YouTube video through there if you had an edit, or like you had your event, you would post a flyer and like you would try to make a new topic on the form, like but under the right form. So it'd be like new setup of the week, and that's where you post it, new event, or like post your newest ramp, or then you'd put like something in the help form, like I need help figuring out what wood to buy, and maybe someone tells you what wood to buy or something like that.
Okay.
So we really relied on that. But there was a guy, oh man, I think his name Brandon Jones, and he ran Primo decks, and he made like a cool tutorial on YouTube and showed you how to make the Bondo mold and what to kind of do. And I don't know if he gave all the specs, but like with my dad already making skateboards and skateboard ramps, he had like
kinda
knowledge. He
understood
just kind of miniaturized it all, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's where he like already had an idea of how this stuff was supposed to work on a larger scale. So we just made it with any miniature stuff we already had.
Okay.
Yeah, but like our first boards were like C-clamped in between 3 plies of like crazy thick walnut veneer, clamped in tech decks with C-clamps, and we didn't have like a real system, so like we would just sand like the crazy square like into the shape we wanted. Like there's no routering or nothing, and we would poke with because it was soft. We poke with a thumbtack to make the holes.
No shit.
And then we'd countersink it by hand, just like rolling the drill bit.
Damn.
And then like kind of round it as best as we could, and just hope.
How many decks do you think you sold out of those Bondo molds?
Well, those were like the tech decks. So out of that, maybe like 20. And out of the Bondo molds, we were stocked on flat face out of the Bondo mold.
Yeah.
And
this was when you were doing
so when it got on flat face,
couch?
When it got on flat face, it was called push pop. Fuck your couch wasn't for everyone, so we changed the name.
Push pop fingerboards, really?
Yeah.
Damn.
In the logo, someone drew us the logo. I forget this guy's name, Dave Romo or something. Maybe that's Dave from Chicago. But Dave something. I don't remember his last name.
Yeah.
And he drew us the logo on the form. It was like, design us the logo, get a free board, kind of way back. And the guy drew it like a skeleton key, like 2 P's.
Yeah.
Like keys. And he put the key to success. So it's like Push Pop's little slogan. Someone designed for us. But yeah, through like the Bondo molds, FYC, or Push Pop, probably a couple hundred.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I still have some today.
And these were sold on flat face.
Yeah.
Damn.
Where
That's
like the
crazy.
widest board was 29.
I was about to say.
Yeah, way back.
Damn. What's the thinnest board you've ever made?
I mean, all those early boards in the tech decks were like 26.
26?
Yeah.
Hell yeah. God damn. I know we're jumping around here, but to say that those boards were on flat face, like it's one of those things where it's like obviously Mike Schneider ties into your story. And that's what I meant. Like there's so much that goes into your story where it's like trying to like pinpoint everything down, because to tell like the Nash and the Sorry story, you essentially got to tell like tie Mike in. You got to tie Blackriver in. You got to tie, and Sorry wasn't even a deck company to start with, right?
No, it was just an event.
Okay.
The joke used to be when we started making boards that Sorry's an event that sells merch. I was like, we don't have a website. Like we sell boards at the event. It's like what you go home with if you want to go home with something from the event.
Yeah.
And then it became more than that. So yeah, Sorry also is a brand, but yeah, it used to be like a joke.
So
between us.
did it evolve directly from Push Pop straight into Sorry, or what was that timeline?
It was like Push Pop ended because of my cycling career choices. Push Pop ended, in 2012.
Like motorcycle?
Road bikes.
Road bikes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Push Pop kind of died 2011 ish, and then I was just racing. And then I found fingerboarding again. I mean, I still had my stuff, but I found fingerboarding again through being at Van Skate Park at the block.
Hell yeah.
and the kids there doing it, and I just like, oh, let me see your board, because I knew I could still do the tricks. Like, let's play a game of skate, and like just like
Damn.
try to smoke the kids at the game of skate, and they never see me before, and like I have the stuff, but like their boards were so much more advanced than mine because they were like 5 years ahead.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was out of the scene. I wasn't on the forums anymore. I wasn't checking them. I wasn't watching YouTube.
Damn.
So I kind of miss like this advancement in the scene, which will like, I mean, like I said, we can go down so many avenues with these stories, but like, I didn't get my first pair of Blackriver trucks until they were handed to me from Martin himself.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's,
So
that's
like,
a 2-hour podcast on its own.
So I was like, when I met them, so now we're just jumping around like crazy. When I met Blackriver, I was riding Tech trucks.
I was about to say, because well, that's where most were starting at the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because up until like Blackriver released their trucks, those were like the Tech trucks were like it.
Yeah.
You know, especially like the longboard trucks, and people were
I had the indie
sanding them. Okay.
Yeah.
And people were like sanding them and painting them and stuff like that.
Yeah, those were my favorite. They had the cross on the base plate, and then they were like 32 long.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, that's crazy. Okay, so tying it back in, reeling it back in. So you and your dad are making fingerboards. You stop fingerboarding because you're cycling at this point. Then you rediscover fingerboarding.
Yeah.
And does it hit you right away? Like, what was the mindset in like, okay, we need to host events? Like, where does that come in? Because that's what came first.
Try to tell this fast. I met those kids at the park. Ryan had already been my friend. He worked at the park.
Talking Ryan Nelson?
Yeah, Ryan Nelson.
He has such a fucking sick pro graphic, by the way.
Which one?
The Costco one?
Oh, yeah. The executive one or the natural, like, white, blue, and red one?
The executive one's fire.
Yeah, the executive one's crazy.
Hell yeah.
But went out with him after a 24-hour skate session at Vans. It happens during Black Friday.
Yeah.
We almost died on the freeway because I fell asleep.
Damn.
And shout out to the rumble strips on the 405 for waking us up before we crashed into a wall. We didn't crash. We lived.
Well, you're here, so I'm assuming it went well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But later that day, we went to Channel Street and we emptied it out. We bucketed it out. It was full of water because it rained.
Damn.
We wanted to skate it super bad. And on that day, we, at the park, met Mike Schneider, Drake Elliott, Jay Linehan, Chris Kraft, Martin Ehrenberger, Martin Winkler, and Andy Hick, all at the park.
Winkler was at the park too?
Yeah.
Damn. That sounds like an epic blunt rotation.
Like, what is happening? What are you guys doing? Like, I had already known Mike and I known Drake. I never met the other guys before.
Right.
So it was crazy to see like childhood heroes and stuff, you know, and people you
just
watch
in the
from
flesh.
YouTube,
You just walk up and they're there.
and we're all there to skate. But like, we had to wait for the park to finish drying because we just bucketed it. So we went to get pizza across the street. But when we came back, they were all there. And it's like, oh shit, like now everyone can skate from us draining it, which is cool. And now crazy to see these people.
Yeah.
And that's where like, so fingerboarding just didn't click. That's where I got like introduced to more.
Yeah.
That's where around that same time I got my first set of Blackriver trucks. And me and Ryan went to the event in Hollywood, and they had this event where they invited like a bunch of pro skaters to paint pools, the crazy legs.
Oh yeah,
and so we went
saw
to
those
that
when we did Fast Fingers.
Yeah.
You had that Tony Alva pool, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, I used to have all those in my storage in Stanton for years and years. But yeah, so I found it again there, and I got to like, I was so happy to like sesh with Martin Winkler because I idolized a lot of those lip tricks and like crazy weird stuff he does.
Yeah.
And I had known a lot of tricks like him or Martin Ehrenberger like kind of invented because I watched those old videos. So like being different generations of fingerboarding at that event, I was probably one of the older souls that wasn't like active at the time. So it was like being able to stoke out with, you know, with them when they're older tricks was cool. And then time passed a month after, and only Andy Hick came back because he was directing the U.S. division back then.
Yeah.
And, you know, they needed somewhere to host the park and told me I could hang on to it with the agreement of hosting 3 events that year. That was like kind of my contract deal to be able to keep it. So that's what sparked hosting the events, was like I was able to have a Blackriver park in my bedroom and have a sesh. You know, I'm not 13 or 14 anymore. I'm 18 turning 19, and but not that dream's coming true. You know,
Damn.
to have a fresh Blackriver Park in my room.
I know, but
So-
even just to meet those people, I mean,
Yeah.
because you got to think. So I met Martin last year, 1st time in person.
Yep.
And obviously, aside from him being a legend, he's just a beast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What was the not surfing? What the fuck was he doing?
Foiling.
Foiling.
Yeah. Well,
Just to watch him do
wake
that.
foil.
Yeah, the fucking foiling was nuts.
Whole
and,
life.
and he's a beast, dude. Like
Oh,
at
yeah.
everything, on a skateboard, on a fucking foiler board, whatever. And so the fact that you met him years and years ago,
yeah.
I wouldn't want to say in his prime. No fucking.
I don't
you know
think
what
he
I mean?
was foiling back then either.
But to think like he's younger, he's more
Yeah.
athletic, he's just killing it.
yeah, I mean,
That's crazy.
40s, you know,
Damn.
late 30s, early 40s back then.
And you know he hasn't been on tour with Blackriver in a while.
Yeah, we just talked about that.
I told him in June. I was like, bro.
This time, this April, this time of year, 7 years ago was the last time Martin was here. And I have pictures of him and Yeldo at the event, and
Damn.
it was, you know, doing the same thing, grinders, and they were here for 3
yeah.
weeks, and I was like, damn, Martin, you haven't been back since.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So I
crazy.
talked to him about that 2 days ago, just kind of like, dude, I wish you were at the event. Like, look at these pictures. Like,
Hell yeah.
and it was so cool because Martin's not always in front of camera or always fingerboarding, but Martin competed in the contest and he took a run.
Damn.
Yeah, it was super cool.
That's fucking crazy.
Yep.
He's such a good dude.
Oh yeah, awesome.
He's such
guy.
a good dude.
Awesome guy.
Let's pause it here for a second, right? Because obviously now we're at the point where we're talking about skateboarding with Martin Winkler, Martin from Blackriver. Let's back it up and tell me how Mike Schneider comes into the picture. Because when you think like Mike Schneider, obviously legendary East Coast, right? And then a lot of people that we've had on the pod, I would say, and not to just totally glaze you here, but there's so many people that credit Sorry, and more specifically you, to bringing what Mike Schneider was doing in the East Coast, bringing that same kind of fucking stoked for fingerboarding to the West Coast.
Yeah.
So how do you what's the connection there? How do you connect with Mike Schneider?
I first met Mike in 2009 or 10, one of those years.
Okay.
In January. I remember it being January. And he was coming out west. I feel like I'm not making this up because this stuff did happen for Mike.
Yeah.
I don't remember exactly the timing of all these stories, but I want to say he was out here because he had some part in a House episode where they fingerboarded, and he made a board
with
for
the deck.
Yeah, and he made a board for the House show,
Hell
the
yeah.
like doctor show.
Hell yeah.
So I feel like he was out here for that, if I remember reading it right on the form.
Right.
And then there was like an invite only kind of event
Yeah.
at someone's house. This was so crazy. It was like in Bel Air in this crazy like big
Damn.
house, you know, Fresh Prince
Bel Air's
style.
crazy.
And there was only like 10 of us there.
Yeah.
But Mike was gonna be there. So you had to be invited one.
Damn.
It wasn't just like a public thing.
Yeah.
And like I had brought my park. I had like a big 4x8 foot park that me and my dad built, and we brought that. And then there was some Blackriver parks there, a G6. Was it a G6? No, it was a G5 Plaza and a big mini, and then a few other loose obstacles.
Damn.
Like where
Okay.
where events still had loose obstacles on the table.
Oh,
Right? Like
shit.
that
Okay.
was the thing. But yeah, it was like 10 of us there, and that was when I first met Mike. And I think like
Damn.
either I gave him the stock there, or he wanted to buy a stock of my boards then,
Yeah.
or I had just mailed him. It was all around that same time,
Same time
January
frame.
2009 or 2010.
Hell yeah.
And that's when I first met Mike.
That's so crazy. You know, funny story talking about you and Mike. Not to totally just jump all around, but my buddy Andy, when we started fingerboarding, which is about 4 years, maybe like 3.5, 4 years ago, buddy Andy comes over, stoked to show me his new board. He just bought the Alex Christ board,
Oh, sick. Yeah.
right? And he came over and he's like, yo, you got to check out this brand. Sorry. They're fucking the graphics. You're going to love it. Because he knows that my shit was the Baker graphic. Growing up, it was always like the red Baker graphic, right?
Yeah, yeah.
He's like, you got to check this shit out. And he pulled it up, and it was the Faker graphic. And you know the lore behind that. I've told you all the time. That's my shit.
Yep.
And anyways, my buddy Andy, I remember we were looking at it. We're on the website, and he's like, yeah, dude, like the owner's named Nash, and this is Nash. We went on YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, I'm embarrassed to tell you that Andy and I watched you and Mike play skate
On that old video.
on the old video.
That was the event.
No shit.
Yeah,
That was the event.
That was the event. Yeah.
Dude.
So I think it might have been like Mike's first time out west too. Maybe not his first time, but like first time fingerboarding kind of thing.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's
I
crazy. And you know
remember
what's
it was
funny?
like a whole thing.
Now that you say that, I'm thinking back and I'm like, because you guys were outside, and it was like, it wasn't just flat ground. You guys were playing
On a
I think
park.
you're wearing
It
a
was
fucking
my
obey
park.
shirt.
Yeah. The white
Dude,
obey shirt.
we've watched that video so many times.
Yeah. I used to love that shirt. Yeah, I know the
Damn.
one. It's like half the face. It's not the full face
Yeah.
graphic. Yeah. That was one of my favorite T-shirts.
It's a fire. It's a fire shirt. How many times since you've met Mike Schneider do you think you've played skate with him?
One more time.
Wait, only twice?
Yeah, I hate playing skate.
Do you really?
Yeah,
You don't strike me. That's bullshit. Because you seem like a competitive guy.
Yeah,
when it
but
comes
I
to
hate skate. I like consistency and flow.
Okay.
So I don't really like someone like could learn a really hard trick that's gonna knock and learn it in every stance. It's gonna knock everyone out in skate. But like link 7 tricks together, bud. You know.
Yeah.
You know,
That is pretty crazy.
I like consistency and flow.
That is
more than
crazy.
a game of skate.
Let's do this since we're already jumping around. You talk about consistency and flow. To be honest with you, and not to just fucking glaze Nash all night, but you're one of those guys who truly, I think when we met, we started talking. One thing that stood out to me was that you competed in fast fingers,
Yeah.
and you've always kind of seemed like that same attitude where it's like consistency, lines. I mean, even your run with the USA fingerboarding,
Oh yeah, the Olympic thing.
dude.
Yeah.
Before we talk about fast fingers, talk to me about that.
Yeah.
Now
that-
we're jumping way the fuck
Yeah,
ahead. But
I
tell
guess
me about
that would be after Fast Fingers. So
Well, yeah, because you competed in fast fingers when you were much younger.
no. 2019 was my first Fast Fingers year.
Well, it's still
Yeah.
fucking
Younger,
7
yeah.
years ago. 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, the run for that USA skateboarding, tech deck, and Olympic kind of contest was really cool. You had X amount of time to film for it, but they
Yeah.
wanted max 1 minute in an unedited run.
Yeah.
So my whole thing was, okay, I have the park to do it on. It's a competition park. It's just like Fast Fingers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a Blackriver park. I can go around it twice, 1.5 times in, 60 seconds. And I'm going to film it follow cam, and I'm going to film it with a drone so everyone knows it's not edited and sync the footage.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it took some tries because I would get like 45 seconds in and then bail that trick, right? And I think
What did you
it's
end
like
with? You ended
40
with like a
tricks.
laser flip.
Yeah, laser flip over
Down
the
the
like
set.
3 flat 1.
Yeah. Damn.
Yep.
Your dad filmed that, right?
No,
Who filmed
Josh.
Because that's
Josh is
the
a
real
sick
fucking
ass
MVP.
filmer.
I
Oh,
remember
yeah.
you dropped the video, right? And this is like early on that Andy and I started skateboarding. So I think one night Andy came over and was like, bro, look at this shit. And we watched it. And then I think it was sometime later, maybe like a week or two later, you dropped the drone footage, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then that's
yeah.
when I was like, bro,
Yeah.
this guy's a demon.
And that was the whole thing was having to understand the whole run.
Yeah.
So I had to talk it over to him the entire time so we'd film the angles right.
Right.
And like we would always talk about that he enjoyed filming with me because he could consistency again,
Yep.
know where to be to film the angle because I could do the tricks on command so often.
Yeah.
So that's what made filming that hard was I get like 40 seconds in and then bail one of the tricks and fuck, we got to start over.
Gotta start over.
And I can
How
still.
many tricks was that? Because that was a 45-second run?
Yeah, it was a lot. I don't remember.
It was just back to back.
But I can still do about half the run almost on command to this day.
Till this day.
Yeah.
Damn, you're gonna have to run it back.
Yeah. And
For like the 5-year anniversary, just run it back.
I mean, I'm blanking on it now. If I was there, I'd probably remember, but I can almost do my Fast Fingers run again, and I can almost do my ASI 10 run again.
Damn.
Yeah.
Okay. So now jumping back into it, I want to talk about fast fingers because again, when it comes to like you as a fingerboarder, you're definitely someone who really does embody that consistency thing, and a lot of people don't realize, but the footwork in it too is kind of crazy.
Yeah, you got to move.
You got to move. You got to have
Yeah.
the steps. I think that's what throws me off.
Yeah.
When I start trying to do a line, I'll start tripping over myself.
Right.
So for someone that wants to compete, right? Because not everyone wants to,
Mm-hmm.
but for someone that wants to compete, wants to do a fast fingers or just get better at going to a like an event today, right?
Yeah,
You're doing
yeah.
best run. What are some tips you can give us?
Get off your desk. Don't fingerboard sitting down.
Damn.
And that's hard for a lot of people because a lot of
Yeah.
people fingerboard at their desk.
The desk
I
warriors.
can fingerboard sitting down. I can't do all my tricks sitting down.
Right.
And it's because my parents allowed me to have a 4x8 park that we built
Damn.
in the middle of my living room in a little house.
Yeah.
But I fingerboard standing up most of my life.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was just natural to walk around the park.
Damn.
And then for people who want to compete, like try to understand it's not the end of the world. It's just fingerboarding. It's just doing the same thing you do by yourself. But for me, those nerves and that edge goes away from being competitive for so many years that I don't
That's
feel any
crazy.
pressure. I just gonna
Do
go
you-
fingerboard.
Do you plan your lines though, or you just kind of wing it in the moment?
When it's so like for fast fingers, it's a totally new park every time. And you only get to compete or you only get to try it out the day of the contest.
Yeah.
So like, and it's a shit show. There's so many people trying to use it.
Oh,
So,
dude,
like-
it's fast. I mean, how long was this one that just passed?
Hours. 10
Hours.
hours.
Crazy.
It's a marathon fingerboarding.
Yeah.
So I'll try and like look at the park, take a picture and plan it.
Yeah.
But then go around the park once or twice and just ollie onto everything to know how high I have to pop. Because then I understand how much pressure I need to use.
Yeah.
And then I can just go practice the tricks I want to do on anything else and understand how I'm going to link that line.
Yeah.
And then once I'm just in front of the table by myself, I can visually see it all and I just go.
Damn.
I don't need to do it all at one time.
Right, right.
I just need to understand the height of things and I can just do it.
That's fucking nuts.
Yeah. And so like my first fast fingers, I know I probably couldn't win fast fingers, but I could get close.
Yeah.
And I got 9th on my first go.
Damn.
So I missed semis by just I missed finals by just a few points.
Yeah.
And I talked to Timo Crand afterwards, and I think he got 10th or 11th. And, he's won. But he came to me, and he's like, dude, your first time, top 10, like,
That's
be
crazy.
fucking stoked. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, the finals is a game of skate. He told me that. He said, it's not for you and me.
Yeah.
He's like, we're not going to win that. He
Yeah.
said, we flow around the park. That's our spot. And in the best trick portion, which gets you into finals, you get 3 tricks, 3 tries each.
Yeah.
On my last one, I landed on the 3rd try. So my first 2 tricks, I landed on the first try. The last one, I landed on the 3rd try. And he says, if I was looking at everything, the guys that made it in landed all their 3 tricks on the first try.
Yeah.
And that's what could have cost me. I don't know for sure.
Yeah.
I was out by a few points.
Yeah.
But I'd rather not play the game of skate.
Yeah.
To make top 8?
Hell yeah.
Cool. But I didn't need to be there.
You've competed in Fast Fingers and you've hosted Fast Fingers.
Mm-hmm.
What do you prefer?
Sleep.
Sleep. There you go.
Yeah.
Yo, the hosting was wild too. Though.
Hosting was fun. I mean, I was hurt that day, but I had a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
I think I would choose to run it differently if I was in full reign of it all.
Yeah.
Not just on the microphone.
Yeah.
I would do things a little bit different.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to do like the last chance trick. You remember that?
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
like one last trick.
Yeah,
like,
last one.
Nah, and then they do it like with their back to the judge. Like,
Yeah.
let's put a baker's mirror or something.
Dude,
like they can't even see that
They
part
need
of the
like
park.
a drone or like
Yeah.
one of those NFL speed
Yeah,
cams right above
something,
it.
bro, because you can't even see that side of the park. So I don't like that part of the contest.
Yeah. Seeing all the names really fucked me
That
up.
didn't happen the year I was in it.
What do you mean?
That like last chance best trick thing. in
Oh,
your
no?
run. Nah, you just finished.
Yeah. The year that last year that we did the announcing, the
Yeah.
names scared the shit out of me.
Right.
Dude.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, I'm about to mispronounce. Like this
Yeah.
is this guy's big fucking moment. and I'm
Nothing's in
about
English.
to
Yeah.
I'm about to mispronounce his whole damn name, bro. His family name.
Oh yeah. I don't know. I've never been at Fast Fingers. I guess the closest thing I'd be like ASI 10, where you just go. Oh, I competed then too, but like, I've never really gone to a contest like that where I'm not gonna compete. So I
Yeah.
don't really know what the day's like as just someone trying to sesh.
Yeah.
That's kind of different for me. I go with like intent
Yeah.
of competing. So I don't know what it's like to be like a normal person.
Yeah.
In that situation, it's probably really fun. But then when you're, at a certain level, when I was going through all those brackets,
Yeah.
I had to be fresh and I had to be ready and clear for 12 hours of competing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. So once you're out, and I didn't make that game mistake, I was like, oh, I can go breathe.
Yeah.
And I just hung out with what I always call Little Portugal in the same spot in the stands every year.
God
With everyone
damn.
from Porto and Oak and Flint and all that crew, and just watching the finals together. And I've done it every year since.
There's a clip somebody posted of the finals, and you can see me in the background, and I'm standing on the bleachers.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why I'm standing next to Martin Winkler.
Oh,
no
sick.
idea, because I had not seen him.
Yeah.
And he was standing right to like the back side of me.
Mm-hmm.
Missed opportunity.
Oh, man, he's right
Dude,
there.
right fucking there. I'm like, bro,
Yeah.
with the little golf hat.
Yup.
Dude, I was so pissed, bro.
Yeah,
I
it's right
screenshotted that, and I was just like, bro, this is just it's going to haunt me forever, bro.
For real, for real.
God, man. Talk to me, again, jumping around. Let's get back to the events, because that's where Sorry started as, right? We already said started as an event. Talk to me about Sorry Event 1, because I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this ties into how the brand or how the name Sorry came to be.
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
It was actually really cool today. When Grinders open, or I guess even before it opened,
Yeah.
there was 2 owners.
Yeah.
We don't need to get into that, but there's one of the main guys there still. Today.
Met him
But-
today, sweetheart.
But both were there today, which
Oh,
was
really?
really cool to see both.
Hell yeah.
But at the time, they were opening it up, and we were always going to the skate park, and
Yeah.
we went into this place. My friend calls me. I was working, and he said, "You got to come over here right now." I said, "What's going on?" There's a fingerboard spot in this restaurant. Their countertop is half pipes, and then they
Damn.
have the quarter pipe countertop. And he's like, "You got to come check it out. Come show them your stuff. You should do a contest here."
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I just left work. I didn't give a shit.
Yeah.
I left work. I
I'm
went
leaving.
there, and we're like, "Yeah, let's do an event." Oh, what should we call it? I don't know. Like, I don't want it attached to my name. Like, I'm gonna put it Blackriver presents blank. And he's like, "Oh, we're always saying sorry for partying." It was like, party rock kind of timing era.
Damn.
And
Party Rock's crazy, actually.
yeah. So I did sorry for fingerboarding. It was just like a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, sorry for fingerboarding. And yeah,
Damn.
that's kind of where it was born, with the owners of Grinders and Blackriver.
I didn't
presents
realize
Sorry
the
for
connection was so
Fingerboarding.
deep with
Yeah.
Grinders.
Yeah, since even before they opened.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's fucking crazy.
yeah, I was in there fingerboarding the countertop, and
Sorry for Fingerboarding was born.
yeah, the name. And
God damn. Talk to me about the event Sorry 1.
Yeah. So we talked kind of about where the name came from, and it was before Grinders was open, and being at the skate park and involved over there. I guess it was like a month planning, because they were about to open. I don't know if it was like their grand opening, but it was like really close to their first time being open.
Yeah.
So they didn't even know what to expect.
Yeah.
And this is a stupid thing to say now because it's so stupid. I didn't want to say Blackriver presents Sorry for Fingerboarding. I made a shit flyer. Chad Collins, CJ's dad, really helped me polish up a new one. He was super involved and stoked on what we were doing. Made me a better flyer. We had like 4 sponsors. And I wasn't in any of the forums anymore. I don't know. There was another forum, maybe Fingerboard HQ going on, or Fingerboard Weekly. I don't remember. I wasn't in those. I was still kind of out of the scene.
Yeah.
But I knew working with Blackriver and being able to do this with their name backing it was going to bring people.
Yeah.
So I sent it to all the people I knew and was like, "You're going to do a real punk rock approach," which is stupid because it's fingerboarding.
Yeah.
We're not going to make a website. We made a Facebook event page.
Yeah.
And we're not going to post on any of the forums. I want it to be word of mouth. Whoever shows up, and they found out from a fingerboarder,
Damn.
and that's how they're going to get there, through like fingerboarding. So it's going to be like a
Shit.
core person, not some like rando finding it.
Yeah.
And on that first day, with that dumb strategy, if we look back on it, we had 82 people
Damn.
on the first day.
That's fucking nuts.
We had 82 people and 4 parks.
I was about to say, because the first one that I went to was last year. No, the year before.
3 years ago?
Maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, Nash, there's so many fucking people, and you have like 5 parks, bro.
Where was that?
It was at Grinders. I've only
Your
been to
first
Grinders
one?
twice. Yeah. Well, so my first Sorry event was at
No,
the
you
Mini
must
Mart.
have been like COVID ones.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was
COVID.
Because
Yeah.
I went to my very first event for Sorry was at the Mini Mart. Andy and I went. We were still wearing masks at the time.
Okay, so
And I
it
think-
wasn't first COVID ones because first COVID ones happened at Grinders. They were small, and I limited the session.
At
A and
the
B
Mini
session.
Mart? Yeah, at the Mini Mart. It was a A&B session, right?
Yeah, I was still continuing that, but that started at Grinders.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. When I
Yeah.
went to Grinders, it was after that though, because it wasn't like that
so
at Grinders.
yeah, it was small because we got in trouble so much.
Okay.
Yeah, we've definitely, before you came around, it was just later in our development.
Yeah.
We had already burned so many bridges of Old World
Damn.
and the community that lives there hating us because we've gotten it to be like 500 people
God.
and
Yeah,
just
some-
like
there's-
23 parks and 500 people.
I don't
and
know which video. I don't know which one it was, but there's a video online. Fuck.
It's
I don't
probably
know
like
who
number
posted it.
10. It's like anything 10
I don't know
through
who posted
15.
it, but it is like insane. Even today, it popped off crazy.
Today was pretty cool. It felt awesome. But at any number like 10 through 15 when we were still numbering events,
Yeah.
and they were still at Old World, were just insane. Like we would have to hire security just for the parking lot because it was too crazy. Like
Yeah.
we would take over both sides of the parking lot, the bus station. We were getting like more in trouble for like not having parking under control than
Yeah.
people but then people live in Old World Village. So it was just like we had to find a new venue, which brought us to Long Beach. So if you went to any Grinders ones after those, or you didn't go to Long Beach first, they were definitely small, but it was just paying respects to like where we started.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, which is kind of what we did today. And it did pop off today. I wanted
yeah.
it to be so much more, but with our tools now and like resources and the move and all that, like it still went good today.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Dude, it was super sick.
Yeah.
And so you've had Sorry events at Grinders, obviously.
Yeah, that's where we started.
You had a couple in First Fridays, right? Those are in Long Beach.
Yeah, and those were just like bonus events.
Yeah, just hang out events.
just free full bonus event.
Mellow. And then you've done a couple at the Mini Mart.
We've done Grinders.
Yeah.
We've done LA multiple times. We started doing the Expo Center in Long Beach when we needed an indoor, like having a door and being able to control that and like being able to have DJs and play music. Cause like we used to have DJs at Grinders and then get in trouble for the music being too loud.
Damn.
It was too much. Like we got in a lot of heat there.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Long Beach, and that was really good. And we had like the 8,000 square foot building. We could put 30 parks in there, and it was really fun. A lot of people would show up. And then we started doing First Fridays because it was just a bonus with my opportunity working for the city to be able to do that and host. And those were free because not everyone could come on the weekend. So now you have a Friday opportunity in the evening.
Yeah.
If it doesn't align your schedule, there's another chance. And then COVID happened. Yeah, COVID happened. And Old World, we went back to Old World really small.
Yeah.
And I guess Clayton's first event and his first introductions to fingerboarding would have been COVID Grinders. And then we realized that, I realized that Grinders was too small now.
Yeah.
And then we started COVID events at the Mini Mart to change things up,
Right.
which would be Slush Colt Mini Mart's first fingerboard events ever.
Yeah.
Was the Sorry ones. Like the first 3 or 4 were all Sorry ones. It was kind of becoming the new venue for us. And then I moved. And then we started hosting in the Central Valley because I guess I'd cut these out from the usual talk. But I was also, while I was living here, doing San Francisco events. So, right before COVID and the world shut down, I did San Francisco slow, Grinders, and then the world shut down. And then when we came back, we did Slush Colt. And then I was still doing SF. And then I moved and just started focusing on the Central Valley. Yeah, so growing a whole nother scene, where there wasn't. And earlier you asked about did Sorry kind of, fill the gap what Mike was doing on the east.
Yeah.
And that was the whole intent with Blackriver was that there was so much like huge push on the East Coast with Mike and like that scene evolving that the West Coast had nothing. And we were going to build a fingerboarding scene in the West.
Hell yeah.
And it was through the help of Blackriver and me running it as Sorry.
Hell yeah.
Because when, like Drake would have events in his backyard or like Moreno Valley or something. And Chris threw a few events, I think, that were smaller and people would do stuff at parks. But like,
talking about Bigspin, right?
Yeah.
Chris
And the
Bigspin?
scene seemed kind of like quiet.
Yeah.
And I was like, I didn't know where to find these things. So I was like, I know what it's like to come from a really small town where there's 3 fingerboarders.
Yeah.
I'm going to find all the people I can fingerboard with. And I use the brand and the power to find that and build that to what we have on the West today, which feels very much like, I don't know, like oversaturated isn't the right word, but it's flooded where like there was a point where you can go to a fingerboard event every weekend in a month,
Yeah.
And
well,
it's
even now it feels like fingerboarding is definitely like taking off. And it's felt like that for like the past couple of years.
Yeah. Like I remember at one time there was like a month where it went like someone did a random event like at the park.
Yeah.
Then it was like Sorry, then Beast Pants event, and then G8, and then like another random event at the park. Yeah. So it'd be like you could go to something every week.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
But that's different times.
Damn.
Yeah.
Speaking of like speaking of East Coast, you haven't been to a rendezvous.
No, never.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I've always thought it cost too much. Like,
really?
Yeah, the American dollar doesn't change, just changing states.
That's true.
So the money carries the same. It's a really expensive flight.
Yeah.
The hotels are expensive. So when you look at all the costs and you're going to spend $1,700, for $1,700, you can also just go to Europe.
Yeah.
And I'd rather do that.
Are you planning on are you going this year by chance in a couple weeks?
Yeah, this will be my first time.
Oh, so you are so we're going to see each other at Rendezvous.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Hell yeah.
But I will be so busy. That's why I did not ask to do this there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're also going to be, is this your first fingerboard con?
Yeah, it is the first fingerboard con.
Damn.
Yeah. My truck broke down the day of trying to get to the first one at the Santa Ana one.
Damn, that sucks.
Yeah. Because like I was trying to go, I was supposed to share a room. I think it's going to be my first time meeting Andy. And then that fell through because of my truck. So it was like, cool, you get a room to yourself because I'm not making it. And Tiny went and Mark and Milo went, but I was stranded in Visalia.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so it will be my first rendezvous, my first fingerboard con, and it's all happening over there. But yeah, just like always seemed like to me it cost too, like it wasn't gonna happen when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And then it cost too much as an adult to like I could just go overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Which is a crazy way to look at it, but like
I mean, but then again, where you're at, I'm trying to think you're not too close by an airport, so I think that's probably why.
Yeah. So
what would be the closest airport? Bakersfield,
Fresno, or Bakersfield? Yeah,
and that's not even that close.
They're an hour away.
Yeah.
Yep.
Damn.
So I just was like, nah. If I'm gonna spend that kind of money, I'm just gonna go to Blackriver. Like,
hell yeah,
I'm gonna go do it big. Not
Talk
that Mike's not big, but like much more accepted because I'm on the team. Over there in Blackriver. So it was just like, I'm gonna go there.
Hell yeah. Let's talk more about Blackriver. Talk to me about your first time getting out there, right? Because Blackriver's played a huge role in Sorry, right? Like I feel like
for years.
I didn't realize until like we became closer, like how just intertwined Blackriver and Sorry are.
Yeah, very close. Very close.
Even as far as like having pro decks or graphics, I should say, Sorry pro graphics.
Yeah.
On Blackriver boards.
Right.
So talk to me about that early like transition onto the team, the tours. Give me that Blackriver lore.
Yeah, so like when Sorry was really cranking, like the first 4 years, they were coming a lot. Like Timo Lieben would come, and Andy would come, and Martin, and Yeldo, and Nico. Like whoever they were sending would be here. I would sometimes see them more than I seen people that live 10 minutes away from me because they would come so often.
Yeah.
And they would stay with me, like, everyone would end up staying at my house.
Yeah.
And it was like a studio apartment in Long Beach. So it wasn't like crazy big, but it was like everyone knew they could hang out, right?
Yeah.
That was the spot they could go. They come for 2 or 3 weeks at a time.
Damn.
So it's so fun. And like my first graphic on a Berlin wood, because Blackriver didn't make boards under their name yet.
Okay.
Was in 2015. 2015 had my name on it, had the TV guy on it. Basically like the Pro graphic of my board.
Did you know it was coming, or was it like a surprise?
I knew it was coming because I designed the graphic.
Oh, well, no shit.
Yeah.
Well, then, there you go.
Yeah. So it was basically what is the Nash graphic now, but it said Berlin wood on it. So I had those, and then we would have events would have special boards. So I would have Berlin woods all custom made for the event. And that was cool relation. But like all my stuff, all the tours I did early on, they were all here on the West because it was something we were building, like the tour from SF to San Diego.
Yeah.
You know, all those kind of things. So by the time I finally made it over there, like Andy had stopped working for the company, and I was like told Martin I was gonna go see him, and I was gonna spend a week in Berlin and a week in Bavaria, but it had already been 5 years since I had started, and I had never made it over. So even like we had worked together so much, they've stayed with me. I see them all the time. We're always in contact. It was finally my turn to be over there. Like they could show me around. So we're like paying each other back through the way, seeing it through their eyes, and like every story they told me, and it all made sense now. And then getting to live my first trip for the first week didn't have any events tied into it. So it was really like vacation, and getting to see everything I wanted as a kid right in front of me, just me and my dad and like Martin. It was really super cool.
Those first 3 trips, your dad was on there with you.
Yeah,
went out there with you.
Yeah, he did.
Hell yeah.
And then I just started going by myself.
Yeah.
He had like work or whatever,
Yeah.
So
talk to me a little bit about, and this is just kind of, because I don't think people realize, I mean, obviously if you're close with the brand, then you realize, but not everyone who's listening is going to realize that your dad plays such a huge role in Sorry, right? From even myself, when I found out that your dad makes the boards, because the name sharing is confusing as well.
Yeah, and he's so weird that he puts my middle name and my sister's middle name as his profile name on Instagram.
Yeah.
So people are like, oh, I was talking to Keanu. Like, no, you weren't. Like, you were talking to my dad. That's my name. You get like all defensive about like, no, you weren't.
Oh, dude, Andy and I were. I remember having this conversation with Andy. Like, he's like, oh, Keanu, and then Nash Senior. I'm like, dude, who the fuck are we talking to? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, long time ago now, 2016 or 17, I was making the boards in my apartment.
Yeah.
Studio apartment. No ventilation. I was making the boards.
Doesn't sound OSHA approved.
Yeah, definitely not. Spraying clear coat in my bathroom, the shower.
That's crazy.
It's like a paint booth,
2 boards in, just
yeah. Whole
faded.
place smelled like clear coat. But when like the demand started getting more and more at the event for like people wanting more boards, I was like, hey, I could keep making these. It's gonna take me too long. I trust you how to make boards because I learned how to make them from you.
Hell yeah.
I can either make these ones or you can take some and I can finish them, but I need your help, again. And then we just started developing more and more boards. Wholesale stuff started happening. Private label stuff started happening. And I was like, hey, like I can't run the event. And I owned another business at the time, run my business and make the boards all at the same time. Right. I need you to take it over. So we made an agreement. He gets X on the boards, I get X on the boards, and the event's mine.
Yeah.
And then that's how it worked for so long. And then COVID happened and my side tanked and his side accelerated. And now we just respectively do our own things in the brand.
Yeah.
But he's very much hands-on on the board making side, where I just do the graphics for the boards and then do the event still, not by myself, but I prepare all the logistics and get them ready.
Oh yeah, and I've told your dad before.
Yeah.
He if you've ever seen, and there's not too many brands you can say this about, but if you've ever held a Sorry deck, and you've ever held another Sorry deck next to it,
Yeah.
they're like carbon copies of each other. They're
autism.
fucking perfect.
Autistic specialties.
Your dad has autism. Is that
Something.
what you're saying?
I don't know. You don't get it that good without something.
Because your dad,
People just say it's called craziness, but it's something.
it's nuts. If you've ever seen Sorry boards next to each other, you would swear that they were just
and
copy paste.
We yell at each other all the time on who can make a better board.
I was just about to ask. So
Yeah.
who's got it? Nash Senior, Nash Junior.
He can make the most consistent board because they're all the same. I will make a board based off performance.
Okay.
So I round things a little different than he does.
Okay.
And he'll be like, this looks like shit. And it looks like a boat. So he always says, your board looks like a boat. It gets flat on the top and is not fully rounded. And like, he's got his points. But I'm like, well, it feels like decent enough on the top for me that like I didn't round the board that much. And it feels like a little bit wider, even though it's like 32.7, it feels like a 34.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's different things. That's like, my shape is 32.7 by 97.5.
Okay.
But the way I round it, it skates different than the way he rounds it because now it feels a little longer with the grip. Like you have to count all those things, which as a fingerboarder, I do. Like what if you write it with 1 mil tape or you write it with 0.5 mil tape? How do you file your board? Are you using a flat file? Are you using a round file? Do you grip your hold? Like all those things will hinder your flip if you don't do it the same every time, or like how it's rounded to the board.
That's where that skate nerd thing comes in about
Very,
you.
very
and I've noticed it ever since we became friends. And in a lot of ways, I feel like you mentored me early on when it came to fingerboarding. There's times where I think I would ask you about tricks and stuff like that, about hard flips. You remember that? Mm-hmm. I remember I called you one time. I was like, yo, why can I not hard flip? It's just front popping.
Just trying to explain.
And then you gave me the grasshopper speech.
I try.
Damn.
It's not that hard. It's a hard flip, but it's not that hard. It's in your back finger and
just a flip at that point.
Lock your wrist.
Damn.
I always try to explain people like lock your wrist. And they're
Lock
like,
the
what?
wrist.
Like don't throw your hand forward. Like lock
Dude,
your wrist.
as
It'll
many
happen.
times have you tried to talk me through Nolly Hills, still can't.
Lock your wrist.
Lock the wrist.
Lock your wrist.
You gotta put that in a
curl
shirt.
your
Lock the wrist. Sorry
lock
for
the wrist.
fingerboarding.
Curl your back finger, and you will nollie heel anything.
Damn. Talk to me a little bit about the board shapes and the molds, right? The SF1, SF2. And I think you recently did SF3.
Yeah, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm pretty sure I'm on the low one, right? SF1.
Yeah, you loved the low one.
Hell
that
yeah.
was always your thing, the SF1.
Hell yeah.
So I just revamped that shape, like the popsicle version of that shape. So the SF1 was our first mold.
Okay.
And it was designed around 2 boards, one that looked like the Jeff Grosso board and one that looked like a Jay Adams pool board, and with the names Jeff and Jay named after those skaters. But they're big boards in real life, so they're slightly longer, you know, for proportion reasons and longer wheelbase and vert skating.
Yeah.
And I put that into the fingerboards because I fingerboard vert, and I don't want my board to feel short, like it's hanging off, like in a Smith, like you're losing part of the board. So those boards were designed in 99 length and 101 length. And so when it transferred to the popsicle didn't fully fit, like, because it was too short.
Right.
Yeah. Close the door. Hey, close the door. Jay. Thanks. Milo's born on a farm, in case you guys didn't know. He leaves the door open.
There you go. Talk to me about that. What does SF stand for? Maybe it's an obvious thing.
Sorry, fingerboard.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. Sorry, fingerboards.
There you go.
And it was an ode to Ferrari. They name all their F1 cars SF and the number of the year.
Dude.
Yeah.
You're a fucking Ferrari guy.
At the time, I liked it because they were sponsored by Mission Win Now, which was just Marlboro cigarettes rebranded, so they couldn't use a tobacco sponsor. Super nerd shit. But I thought it was funny that they were still supporting big tobacco in a secret way.
Hell yeah.
And I thought that was cool.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, subliminal. So yeah,
Damn.
that's where those like first low molds came from. They were longer boards, which the revamped version of the popsicle is shifted forward to make the nose longer, to make
A little longer.
Yeah, to make the tail shorter and raise the degree. Like
Yeah,
real
the nose.
real nerd shit, like
I was
of the
about to
gap
say.
of the the bolt hole with the gap between the nose. I don't know.
Okay.
I grew up with a lot of skaters that designed real molds.
Yeah.
So it was like they teach me this stuff on like the science of the pop, and I try to translate that into fingerboarding.
I understand.
Yeah.
You're saying that, and I'm hearing you, and I'm just thinking, it almost sounds like the Peanuts gang thing. And I'm just like, wheelbase.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
nod your head, and
Yeah,
every now and then just say, oh, yeah,
board-
wheelbase is good. And
Yeah,
just
and
roll
then
with
you
it.
got to think like, what trucks are you gonna ride? Are they gonna lengthen the wheelbase? Are they gonna shorten the wheelbase? Are you putting rider pads? What did that do to it? You know,
Damn,
like
riser pads.
yeah. Did you put board rails that have screws? Did you put board rails that glue on? What did that change in the weight? You know, so on, so on, so on. Like that all changed the whole performance of a fingerboard.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk about parks,
Mm-hmm.
ramps, and obstacles, right? I want to talk about parks because a lot of people don't realize, but Sorry doesn't do just boards and merch and stuff like that.
Right.
You guys are known for your parks as well.
Yeah, yeah, and that just kind of goes back to like that event with Mike
Yeah.
early on. That
Yeah.
was like one of the first parks we built, and me and my dad always progressively getting better through trial and error, and eventually being able to hone our craft and build multiple parks, you know, replicate parks, almost make them into production runs, and multiple
Yeah.
people could order it. We know the measurements, we know how to make it, you know, and we've fortunately been able to make parks all around the world. Especially myself, I've been able to make like 5 or 6 parks for Blackriver. It's all under their name, but it's my
yeah.
designs, it's my work.
Hell
And I feel so honored with that, like to be able to work for like, you know, the big company, the big dogs, you know, 25 years, and then doing replicas like the barracks and stuff like that. Like
Hell yeah.
people really trust our work to like, you know, be the next step.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick. And a lot of people, so my first experience with Sorry parks were the two at the mini mart.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
those
Those
were
were
like
those
the
were
most
cool.
Yeah, those
I
were like
love
the
those.
most iconic parks
Right.
at the mini mart forever. I
Right.
think now, I don't know if I'm pretty sure he probably still has them, but I haven't seen him in a minute.
They got super toasted, and I tried
Yeah.
to tell them like we should revamp them, and
Hell
just
yeah.
never did it. But like, yeah,
You know what just
they were
popped into
super
my mind?
used.
The fucking the sidewalks from Berlin.
Oh yeah,
Dude,
Yep.
that's such a crazy we were in Germany
Mm-hmm.
and we were walking around, and Clay tells me, he's like, yo, you see the floor? I said, yeah. He's like, you know, the park that Nash made. And right when he said
Yeah.
that, I was like, bro, that's such a wild
yeah,
touch.
crazy detail there.
That is
crazy
such a
detail.
wild touch.
Yep.
That is crazy.
Yeah, so now you got to see it in person
I
and see the
know.
park and how they tied into each other.
That's crazy. You know what? One time you came to SoCal, you dropped off a park for Andy.
The green one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you dropped off a park for somebody else
Mike.
who
Yeah.
lived in Whittier, right? Wait, you know his name?
Yeah. I was trying to hang out with him today.
Bro,
He's probably actually.
I've
my
reached
phone has
out-
been going off, and
Bro.
I invited him to dinner.
Bro,
Yeah, he actually
so you-
texted me 30 minutes ago. I
Bro,
know I'm
wait a
going
minute.
off, but
dude,
yeah.
I've tried. When you first dropped that off, I reached out to him on Instagram.
Yeah, it's
and I
such
was
a sick
like,
park.
I'm like, bro, you know, and he never he responded once or twice and then never got
Aw,
back to me.
yeah.
because I'm like, bro, you're in Whittier. Like, let me come please sesh your fucking
Okay,
park.
we're cutting into our video, but there is the park. It lives. This is literally 30 minutes ago.
That's in
it's-
Whittier.
Yeah, that's there.
bro. Right by the high school, right? You were telling me.
I don't remember. It's been a while, and I haven't been to his house since then. So
What's
I
his
don't
name?
Remember Mike.
Let him know that I live in Whittier, and I would appreciate a fucking text back.
I'll
all right?
tell him. I'll tell him.
I'm just trying to swing by and just sesh it for a few minutes.
Yeah,
Damn.
I got you, bro.
That's
I
fire.
got you.
Let's talk. So we talked parks.
That was
wanted-
such a cool park, and
Hell
if
yeah.
you don't realize it because you might have not seen it for a long time,
No.
it's actually the back side, the blue line side of the old barracks park flipped, so you could
Yeah.
use it right-handed and not just switch.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we've had that conversation.
it's a really cool park.
I want to talk about Sorry one-off obstacles because there's a loaf that you gave me, and it might just be a loaf. Maybe
The one you painted?
I didn't. No, you gave me a yellow one. It's still yellow.
Oh, that's crazy,
Dude, it's
Yellow's
sti-
crazy.
Yeah, it's still yellow. I use it
Yeah.
in a lot of videos.
Okay, I know which one this is.
You know which
it's
one
a
this is?
total one-off ramp. I
I
like
get-
made a mold,
Bro.
and that was the only time I poured it.
I get so many compliments on that damn ledge.
Okay.
Because it's just like the perfect height,
Yeah.
perfect length, pause. And it's crazy. And I always tell people, they're like, well, who made this? I'm like, sorry. They're just
Yeah.
like, bro.
So I got good news. I remember making that. That was a total one-off mold.
Okay.
was only poured one time. It was a one-time mold.
Wait, so I got a 101.
Yeah. And
It's going straight to eBay.
I do have a new mold that's getting produced. I literally got the prototype 3 days ago.
Damn.
And I will start pouring them when I get to Chicago.
Hell
I
yeah.
don't know if I'll have it by con. Like, it's not something we're trying to release there, but if I do, or I could just mail you one.
Yeah.
But it's based around those same specs because those
Damn.
are my favorite specs of
Hell
a
yeah.
lead. And it will be something like production.
Damn. Talk to me about the Sorry Barrier.
The orange one?
The beefy one.
Yeah, those are coming
what's
back.
What's the lore behind that? Because I know there was a little lore around the mold.
Yeah. So I don't remember who designed the mold originally, but it was a fingerboarder.
Right.
And he designed it for my friend.
Yeah.
And my friend was pouring them and super into miniature details. So he would like tag on them and make them look hyper realistic, like miniature, like tagged real world barriers.
Yeah.
He stopped.
Damn.
He offered me to buy the molds.
Yeah.
The masters, everything.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what, dude? It is a lot, but no one else has it. No one else has that shape. I want it. I'll keep it going.
Yeah.
And then we started as production, not with the taggings or anything, but a skatable obstacle for function, right? And I'm going to bring those back at the same time I bring out the other. Like my concrete stuff will come back.
Hell yeah.
And a lot of it will be hosted in the store, probably just to like save from shipping and damages and stuff like that. Yeah.
Also, there's another concrete obstacle you sent me.
Which one?
Tons of compliments on. It's like a bench. It's like a curved L bench.
Oh, fuck. Yeah.
Bro.
I hate that ramp. I love that ramp so much, and I hate it because it's hard to make.
It's chips, right?
It's so hard to make.
Dude,
yeah.
I've kept mine kind of pristine. A couple chips here and there. But so many people have offered me sick money for that.
It's so
and
sick.
I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
This is
it's like a little L with the quarter pipe back. Oh, yeah. It's such
is that coming back?
I've never figured out a way to secure the bottom to not chip, so I don't feel comfortable. Like, I'll give them out to people because, like, hey, here's the risk, but shred it. You know?
Yeah.
It's such a good ramp.
Hell yeah. Since we're on the topic of obstacles, 6 months ago, you dropped a Blackriver obstacle.
Which one?
The spine.
Nah, that's been a year. A year.
Well, fuck me. But
Yeah. It's been a year. So I had the spine.
tell me about that. Did you have crazy, like, do they just come to you and say, hey, we're going to drop a spine, we'll put your name on it? Or did you have some say in...
Damn, when was this? Fast Fingers? This might have been my Fast Fingers trip.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was the Fast Fingers trip. Yeah. The punk wall was supposed to be my pro model.
Really?
Originally, the steep vert one.
Right.
And I wanted to do it with my logo on it. And I wanted to have it make attachments that you could put a ladder or like a step attachment to it. Yeah. So it felt like a pool.
Yeah.
And I just, vert skating. I love all that shit, and it's steep, and you ollie into your stuff. I really liked the idea. I sent them my signature to burn into the ramp, and we had all this idea. And then it came out, and I was like, well, shit, doesn't have my name on it. None of that.
Tell me about the Sorry spine. Because obviously the punk ball was supposed to be yours.
Right.
Came out, wasn't yours.
Yep.
Tell me how the spine comes into play.
Okay, so this goes back to the first trip, 2018, June 2018.
Damn.
I always rummage through the factory. I'm always looking for really old shit I wanted on the internet a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I generally will find it or some relic of it and ask for it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's in the Bible. It says, ask and you shall receive. And I've always read that, and I took it to heart, so I asked for anything.
God damn. There you go.
Yeah, what can the Lord do for you,
Hey, yeah.
But then you got to do something for the Lord, so it might bite you in the ass at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
Be careful what you ask for.
Right, there you go.
But with that being said, I did find a spine on the first trip. It was a really old one, super prototype. It never was released in that version. Yeah. It was like the second rendition, and it was too hard to make, so they didn't make it. And I took it home, and I used it all the time.
Damn.
And one day, years later, because the punk wall didn't come out with my signature on it,
Right.
Martin calls me and he says, I found the ramp for your spine. So what do you mean you found it? He said, your ramp.
Yeah.
not found for the spine.
Yeah.
And we're on FaceTime, and he showed me the spine. I said, is that like the one I have? He said, yeah, this is the other one. They had two. He had found the second one.
Yeah.
I said, that's exactly the one you have. I said, okay, well, it's too short. It needs more pitch. It needs to be longer.
Yeah.
Make a prototype and send it to me, and then that's the ramp.
Yeah.
And I had just come back from the team weekend where I told Martin, like, dude, we got to use this crazy, like, threaded steel pipe or, like, rebar looking thing.
Yeah.
Let's use it as a coping so it gives it that pull coping sound, which
Yeah.
kind of birthed the diamond cut coping.
Yeah,
it's like
coping.
diamond grind almost.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want that. Because if we're not going to do pull coping or some sort of concrete, like,
Yeah.
I want it to have that feel, and it's a shotgun. Like, it'll be so sick.
Hell yeah.
And then eventually it's like, send the signature or send your logo. What do you want? You know, Mike has this on his. What do you want yours to look like? And I was like, well, you know, I made Sorry for Fingerboarding an Instagram page after a whole year of contests.
Yeah.
We didn't even have any marketing. Like I told you, I kept it super word of mouth.
Damn.
No videos. I made it, and then I logged back in one day, and it just had 3,000 followers with one post. So people wanted to know, and that's when I kept it going.
Okay.
So I said, you know what? I made that page to post fingerboard stuff separate out of my personal one. I'm going to just put sorry, not my signature. I don't need that.
Yeah.
So I put the TV man in sorry. They then sent me the prototype, and my logo was on there. The coping first gen was on there. And then it became my ramp, I think, 4 months later. And it came out in the limited edition, the 10 red ones. Or no, 10 blue ones. The sorry blue, the tealish color.
Yeah.
That came out. And then the red ones came out.
Right.
And then the white one, natural one, came out. And I said it was for USA.
Yeah. There you
And
go.
I want to do a black one and a yellow one. So we have a German flag.
Hell yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's great.
But that painted ramp
There you
also brought back the painted ramps
that is
for the
true.
whole brand.
Yeah, because they started doing the orange and purple
Yeah,
and stuff
right
for
after.
25 years. Yeah.
So I felt like I brought back an old ramp and colored ramps.
Damn.
Yeah.
He's out here getting it.
Trying my best. I don't know. I live in the old parts of the brand still, you know?
Yeah. Let me ask you something, because I know that you have not only, obviously made parks here, but
Right.
you've also had a hand in making parks in Germany. Like you've been there. I
Yeah.
mean, we've got to tour the fucking place, but you actually made ramps there.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I bring it up is because there is some talk online in regards to Blackriver apparently just buying Chinese mass-produced products,
Right.
stamping it with Blackriver, and just slinging them.
Yeah, no. I've seen where they're made. I've made the ramps. I've put that stamp on ramps. It is all very much made there. Just like they say, it's all within a 15-kilometer circle
Yeah.
from the factory. Everything is produced there.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Even like the bricks are like custom one-offs just for them.
Damn. And with Blackriver Chicago, kind of segueing, with that store opening, tons of people want to know. And I wish I would have asked Martin and Denise if I would have known about it at the time.
Right,
but tons
right.
of people want to know, like, can we expect shipping now from the U.S. when it comes to Blackriver
Yeah.
products, or what does that look? Do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, I do. So, like I said, I live in old parts of the brand still.
Okay.
And back when I was fingerboarding earlier on in my life, and started, all our stuff got shipped out of Chicago.
Hell yeah.
A lot of stuff. There was like a cool shipping service out of Chicago that had inventory, so you could get your ramps faster.
Right.
That went away for whatever reason.
Okay.
But it's coming back.
Okay.
And not only are they coming back, but there will be versions of the ramps, if not all the versions, USA made,
Damn.
which will be really cool to have ramps both with the stamp made in Germany and one made
Chicago.
in USA. We'll have varieties now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. That's gonna be fire.
Yeah, I'm super stoked to see my collection change, because I know I want all the USA stuff.
Heck yeah.
That I guess would still be in the lineup, because I wouldn't get rid of something like a D-Rex or like the Winkler Mini, right?
Hell yeah.
Like with the stamp,
Damn.
not just
With the official stamp.
the dose, right?
Yeah.
I would keep the old shit.
God damn.
Yeah.
There you go. Talk to me about the collabs, right? Because obviously, Sorry has done crazy collabs. To name a few. Obviously, you work with Denny's,
Oh yeah,
right?
Dennis.
You work with Denny's. Probably my personal favorite, the Barracks,
Barracks one. Yep.
was sick. Most recently, I think, well, not so much most recently, but in recent memory, Turtle movie.
Yep. Yep.
What else? You got Heroin Skateboards,
Yeah, heroin skateboards.
Shorty Skateboards,
Shorty skateboards.
Muska,
Muska. Yep.
and I'm sure there's some that
Dude,
you've done that we can't
forget.
even talk about.
There's some we can't talk about.
Okay.
There's some I forget about because it's been so long. But we did recently passed. Patty McGee passed away, and she had her life cover doing the handstand, and that was a board 2014. We did Skeleton Key. We did Darren Navarrette's Pro Skeleton Key Creature board. We've done those. We did 5 anti-hero graphics with Jeff Grosso. Damn. I've hired the designer of those graphics from Anti-Hero to do our 18th event flyer and board.
Damn.
1-8 Anti-Hero. We're such fans. We tied it all in.
Yeah.
Dude, there's, like I said, I forget sometimes which ones we've done. The Barracks had, I don't know, 2 drops in the park. Oh, man. I don't know. There's, like I said, SF Skate Club. I forget sometimes, you know.
That
There's
Barracks
a lot.
Park is nuts, dude.
10 by 10, and 4 parts of it exist only now.
Damn.
It was a big park. It was almost unusable. It was, I always say it was like a movie set, like a prop park.
Yeah.
One for a big picture, and then we were able to move everything around to get in the right angle because you can't skate the middle without moving it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy. How do you, I mean, just like a brief higher overview, how did something like that take place? They reach out?
Yeah.
Like, how do they just, are they tapped in and they're just like, yo, call Nash?
One of the dudes was interning there or working there for a little bit, and he was a fingerboarder, but also very much a big skateboard filmer.
Yeah.
And he pitched it to so-and-so, and so-and-so reached out to me, and then we took the reins, and then it became a relationship for like 3 years. Until,
no.
I guess until like it closed down.
Yeah. Something like the Ninja Turtles, though. That's like,
yeah.
Or Denny's. Because the Denny's Park, the fucking, I mean.
Dude, the Denny's thing took off. You know, that Nick had his whole thing going on, doing the kickflips and like filming it and going viral.
Yeah.
And their marketing team thought it was cool.
Hell yeah.
And they reached out to me to produce the product.
Yeah.
And meeting after meeting after meeting and pitch deck and so on. And I was like, yeah, I can do this. Like, no problem. Here's my pricing. Here's the look and feel. This is what it's going to cost. Like, we're going to make sure it's the coolest setup. I mean, he had made Denny's boards pre-packaged to look like an action figure style packaging, like blister pack with Blackriver trucks and Blackriver wheels. Like, those were such pro boards. Like, he had no idea that's what was coming.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, yeah. And then we got to do Denny's grip tape. And then with that, it they liked it. They liked the relationship. It's easy to work with them.
Yeah.
That we I pitched the idea to go to the World Championships with Denny's, and then we were able to do cash for tricks and give out all that money.
The stack of pancakes was sick.
Stack of pancakes and the sign. The sign was like a tribute to the old Hookups videos and them skating the Blockbuster sign or the gas station. I guess the gas station was like the Hookups video.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all tribute to that. And that was crazy because Denny's does not exist in Europe, and they were still down because it was world coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell, that's crazy. Because we walked in, we were getting the tour with Ollie, and then we walked in, and that was when, you know, it's funny. Martin, this is totally blew my mind. This popped in. We walked in, right? And JoJo from December was standing there,
right,
covered in sawdust, just going ham on the Denny's Park, right? Martin walked over, and Ollie says, "Oh, you know, this is Chris." You know what he says? You know what Martin says?
What?
He says, "I know," and he gave me a hug.
So sick,
bro. That I was like,
yeah.
He knows who
so
the fuck
sick.
I am.
Yeah, that shit's crazy when that locks in like that,
dude. It hits different,
right?
It hits different.
Yeah, I remember calling Martin like, "Hey, dude, I'm gonna be late. I'm not gonna get there on time. I thought we were. This is what's happening. I'm coming from Frankfurt. I need you to start. Here's all the measurements.
God damn.
Take what you will with it. I need you to follow this measurement because this is what the stickers are gonna look like.
Yeah.
To put on those signs and the pancakes and stuff. Yeah. And I'll run with it when I get there. So him and JoJo kind of started, and I finished it off once I got there.
I love that.
Yeah, and then like the Turtles thing was crazy because that came about through the barracks, but because of our past relations, they knew I was the guy to call to be able to make the custom one-offs. And whenever these kind of things happen, they always happen with the most unrealistic timing.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, we need 200 boards in 7 days.
Damn.
Right? So,
Damn.
you know, we have
Your
to
dad's
get
working overtime.
Dad's getting to work his heart out.
I was about to say, they got the budget, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So you can just send them a fucking wild invoice and just like, pay it.
But it's so awesome because then they get this professional board, you know, like it's a top end board, real deal fingerboard. And it came in that cool box by Moon Dust that had the coping to match the Ninja Turtles bandanas and stuff like that.
Hell yeah.
Yep.
I like that. We got the Nash Pro graphics, right? We obviously got the Blackriver Pro model. Recently with Pyro, who we're on the same team.
Yeah, Pyro wheels. Shout out Pyro.
Shout out David. Talk to me a little bit about the design of your Pyro wheel.
Yeah.
And real quick, I love that it's sorry and it's not like a Nash wheel.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Like I said, same thing kind of like with the ramp. That's was the identity of my fingerboard page is sorry.
Yeah.
Obviously it's a brand too, but it's like it's not Nash, you know.
Yeah.
I knew I was getting a wheel for a while, but I was on such defense that I didn't want a front-facing graphic. That if we could print in the front, why can't we print the graphic on the inside?
Yeah.
Because that's how I ride my real wheels, and I will not ride graphic fingerboard wheels that stick out on the front.
Hell yeah.
And I ride 56 Spitfires, which was those were modeled after to be blue, just like the 56 Classics.
Hell yeah.
And, you know, it took Dave almost a year, I think, of us talking back and forth and trial and error to get it right. And then it became the first wheel to be with the inside printed.
Yeah.
And dude, that thing just broke the internet and it soared. And a lot of people don't know this. I can come out with it. If you watch any of my videos, you'll see it. Those wheels were made for the people.
Yeah.
Because I ride Pyro minis.
Minis.
I ride mids
you know what's
too.
funny? I was just thinking, I'm like, he doesn't ride performance wheels.
I can.
I'm a performance guy.
Yeah.
I like the performance
Yeah,
wheels.
I can ride pretty much anything. That's a real classic size of wheel. That's like riding Big Daddies. The old Winklers was solid wheel. I rode those for years. But when the minis were born, Pyro to me has the best mini wheel. It rolls with the least resistance, whereas another wheel that's that size might feel like you're dragging or like pushing the board too much, where the Pyro ones roll free. That's why I love them so much, which allows my board to roll easier and flip faster.
There's that skate nerd again.
Yeah, exactly.
Damn.
Exactly, like testing them on my park, like rolling them down the bank ramp compared to other wheels to see which ones go farther, because that's going to be the resistance, I'm going to feel. So Pyro, to me, makes the best mini wheel, but he can't print on mini wheels. Right? Fingers crossed.
The POC ones are small, dude. I don't know if they're as small as minis, but they're small.
A little bit bigger than mids.
Really?
They're smaller than performance, but they're a little bit bigger than mids.
I was surprised how much detail that's clear that you got into the POC wheels.
But they're like kind of fat. I don't know if that's the right word. Like where the graphic sits, they're tall. Where the mini's so shallow.
Yeah.
But yeah, I made those wheels for the people because I know everyone would ride performance, and I'm just a psycho that likes minis. So I was like, well, I can ride them too, but I'm gonna go ride those minis,
for the people.
And like, I'm still riding. So before I was even on the team, I got my first set that glow in the dark, I think blue, that have also been run over by a shopping cart and flat spotted in Costco. Damn. And I'm still riding that set today, and they're like 3 years old from that Good Vibes trip.
I
wasn't even on the team yet. That's how much I stand by like those wheels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
I got a shit ton. It's not that like I don't have enough wheels. I just really like that glow in the dark blue formula. They were super white, like not super white, but like natural white when they're not glowing. And so it's so sick of a color.
That little blue like
yeah. But yeah, wheels made for the people because I wanted everyone to ride those cool inside graphics.
Nash for the people. When are we going to get another sorry video? So the most recent one, if I'm not mistaken, aside from like tour videos, is TV Addicts.
Yeah, TV Addicts is like the team video.
What, 3 years old?
Yeah, 3 or 4 years old.
When are we going to get another one? Because I know you guys are always filming.
Yeah, we're always filming. I don't know if you probably just popped in a memory card from any of my camcorders would have a lot of footage, but I never edit videos.
Damn.
Like camcorders just sit with footy.
Damn. Heat.
Yeah, I mean, Tiny dropped, I think, the best fingerboard video of the year last year was 40 Hour Tuesday.
Damn.
Yeah, that I think was, it's an hour long of just solid fingerboarding and tour stuff,
And Tiny has such a fucking, like, a cool style.
First guy to land the 900.
Damn. Oh, fuck.
First guy
That's
to land the 900.
Documented.
Yeah, TV Addicts, You'll find it there.
When are we going to get a second video, though? Eventually?
This
year? Next year?
Yeah, I don't know. Need another movie theater,
That is true. That is true.
Yeah.
How does someone go about getting on the Sorry team? Because who's on the team now?
I don't know.
Damn.
I can list off people. I don't have it posted anywhere. So I forget. We have Angel, Jose, some of our oldest writers.
Right.
Milo, Tiny, Alex, Nurse, Emilio, Jay. Yeah, I start forgetting Jocko, Ernie. That's 10. Not that the number matters, but like trying to think if I'm forgetting anyone. Clay, Pilot. No one's like quit, but like, I mean, people have quit, but like some of these guys, their names are so old, they don't even put out stuff.
Yeah.
But I give them a board if they ask.
Yeah.
But it's like they're so busy with their real world
they're like the
life.
legacy Sorry team.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just like they're still on. So it's like, dude, like I'm probably forgetting someone and I feel so bad. But yeah, who else is in that video? Ryan. I just forgot Ryan. We talked about his executive
pro graphic.
Yeah. Dude, yeah, I don't know. And then there's like homies, like Yaldo and Matt from Awake and working on other graphics for other people. So it's just like, homies type shit. And then, the real pros and then, newer guys. So it's just like, and then like not everyone's super active anymore. So it's just like right now the crew like today, was like George from Chicago.
Right.
We have Tiny out of Bakersfield. We have Mark and Milo coming from the Central Coast, myself from Visalia, and then we had Jocko here, and we had, there's just like so many people coming from like all over, but a lot of our guys are core in the Central Valley now. Yeah. That this kind of group is the one traveling right now, so it feels like that's the team. Yeah. Right, but
what are the traveling vibes?
Just like any skate video you see from the 2000s, it's rough, it's wild, it's unplanned. There's the crew
that went with you to Germany.
Craziest crew.
The fucking
ever.
the jackets y'all wore.
Yeah.
The airport photo was
the slow-mo one. Yeah. Fucking broke the internet. Dave just on the side repping with the crew.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we owe all of that to Jim with Tiny. That friendship started with those two, and it's taken over the whole scene with Dave creating this documentary on fingerboarding.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. But that's because Tiny landed the 900,
dude.
Yeah,
the 900.
Yep,
that's nuts.
If Tiny didn't land the 900, we don't know if Dave would have ever found him.
God damn,
it's crazy work, dude.
It is crazy work.
Yeah,
dude. He's just putting on for the team.
Flick of the wrist.
They lock the wrist.
Lock the wrist, but not to do a 900.
Flick of the wrist.
Flick of the wrist.
I like that.
Yeah.
What is next for Sorry? I mean, we're talking 11 years, and there's so much. And I feel like we've been potting now for about 2 hours.
Yeah.
And I feel like we've just scratched the surface.
Dude, yeah, we're gonna need like 7 parts.
Yeah.
We
gotta do it again.
We're not gonna Mike V this and champ out some 7-hour podcast.
Yeah. No.
We need multiple parts because there's a million stories.
Right. Because again, we've literally just touched the surface.
Yeah, barely.
Yeah. And there's still so much more.
Yeah.
But how do you cover all of? Because again, if we just talk Nash and didn't talk Sorry,
we talk for hours.
Easy couple hours.
Oh yeah.
And then if we talk just Sorry, couple hours.
Yep.
Damn.
Yep. So what's next? Sorry is moving to Chicago. Sorry,
That's
with
right.
that is going to split chapters. So I want to hand off. I can't take everything. I mean, I can, but it might be hard.
Yeah.
I want to hand off parts and responsibility to some of the guys local so they can keep the scene alive on the West, what we help create, and keep going. We weren't here first, but we helped kept it going.
Right.
So I want that to keep going. I can always fly back in. You know, it'd be nice to attend my event, not host all the time.
Yeah.
And then I will be in Chicago working for Blackriver, which has already been a
full
marriage.
time.
Full time. It's already been a good marriage for so long. It's going to be cool to keep it growing. You know, if they've been open 25 years, let's get it another 25 more. 25. You know,
hell yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. You know, that's a big move. And then I'm really trying to like force a bike collab. I don't know if I say force is the right word, but I want that to happen somewhere. I've done dabbling in it here and there.
Do you
bike
still
shops.
Cycle?
Yeah, just like commuting, no racing or anything anymore. But I still have a love and passion there that I want something fingerboarding, and it's happening in the Midwest. There is a group of cool cyclists that are also fingerboarders.
Damn.
And I love seeing that crossover, but I want Sorry to be involved in there somehow. Yeah, so I want to see that happen. I want to go to Japan for no apparent reason besides like feeling like, oh, we got big in Japan. You know, they always say you made it. There's like a little pin I have to say, I got big in Japan. Just joke shit, you know.
Yeah.
My life decisions, a lot of them are based on memes.
Yeah.
Brain rot and memes they rule the world.
I'm always down for a good meme.
Yeah. Me too. All the time. I don't know how to word this. I can't have a good morning without good memes. There's the word.
Damn.
Yeah. Bumper sticker. Boom. Bigspin pod, bro. Can't have a good morning without good memes.
Damn.
The minute number 69.
I might have to lift that from you.
Yeah.
We have to lift that from you. Clearly, there's something about Sorry, and even yourself, but more specifically Sorry, that just is about longevity, right? Mm-hmm. Because Sorry's had, I think it's fair to say Sorry's had highs, lows, all of in between.
Yeah.
For someone that's just starting out, or even like a more seasoned company who might be in a low, that's used to big experience at high, like what can you speak on when it comes to longevity and just determination to keep it going?
Yeah, they say, you know, like if you ride real high, you're going to fall real hard kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy it while it's there. That wave is going to crash. You know, the yo-yo's not super popular anymore. You know, the hula hoop's not super popular anymore. Yeah. But one day it might come back. We just need the next meme to take it on, right?
Yeah.
Yo-yos will be big again tomorrow if the right person does it. So I look at my brand that way, and I tell people, like, just don't stop. Like, don't do it for clicks. Don't do it for views. Do it for yourself.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, and like I've been around it so many times, and I hear it. I've heard it inside stores, which is insane.
Yeah.
It sounds so crazy to bring it up because it blows my mind every time. I'll be like in a store, and someone says, "Oh my God, I love fingerboarding so much. It's so cool." I feel like I don't have any community, though. I want to start my own store and my own brand and make a community. I'm like, dude, you're in a store that you're buying stuff from. Find the community here.
Yeah. Oh, you have to rebuild the wheel.
You were about to be so sad when that crashes, and then you're going to hate fingerboarding forever. Like, not just be stoked, like, where you're at. And if it happens naturally, keep it going, you know? Like, you know, I don't know. And I started Fuck Your Couch, or I became Push Pop, and then it fizzled out, you know, lows and highs. And then it became Sorry, and Sorry's had its ups and downs. I do it for myself. It's a big passion project. It's a big passion project for myself to find other people to fingerboard with, and fingerboarders to find fingerboarders to fingerboard with. So I do it for the stoke, and it just comes with a lot of other perks. But if I let that control me, would be done a long time ago.
Hell yeah.
You know, you got to do it for yourself, right? Remember, I know people say, you know, it's like, oh, what would your younger self or your 13-year-old self think about you? Well, my 13-year-old self would probably be fucking stoked because I haven't really changed that much. Opinions are growing as formed, but the dreams I'm living out now are stuff that I wanted in middle school.
Damn.
So it's like, don't forget why you're here, you know?
You're really spitting.
I'm trying.
Shit, I was about to put a beat under that.
It's how I feel, dude. It's just like...
Yeah, I was about to put a fucking beat under that.
Just stick to it, you know? Like, I had a guy tell me 2013. I'm like really fucked up on how chronological my brain works. I journal a lot, so I remember a lot of stuff because I probably write it down. Yeah. But 2013, a guy says, I've taken the word quit out of my vocabulary because if he looks at his peer group and his friends and what he's doing and the position he's in now, the reason why he's in that position is because he didn't quit.
Damn.
Other people opened the door for him because they quit. But because he didn't quit and still strived and pursued and trained and worked hard, he was now at the top.
God damn.
Don't quit. Keep it going.
There's another bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I got you, dog.
Dude. We're going to have to do this again, Nash.
We definitely will.
We're going to have to do this again. You know, we had so much like intense conversation at the end. I have one more question for you.
All right, let's hear it.
Smash, marry, kill. Mike Schneider, Slush God, or me?
Smash, marry, kill.
Smash, marry, kill.
Sounds like a tongue twister. Between yourself, Clay, and Mike. Dang, this one's hard.
Yeah.
This is a hard one. Okay.
Pause on that's a hard one. It's hard for me that I just threw myself in there.
You threw yourself in there.
And you know what? I could you hear the hesitation?
I did.
Because I almost didn't. Because it's like, I don't want to be killed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not trying to pipe you.
Right.
I might, maybe I'll move with you to Chicago. Maybe I'll be wifey.
Maybe we could get married. You know, I know you already got kids and shit. So like,
stepmom,
you're there, bro.
You know what I mean?
You know I'd be a family guy.
Hell
That's cool.
Okay,
dang.
so if I'm wife though, I mean,
yeah. Now I got two other choices and two other people. You know, I don't know where I want to go with this one.
Well, gotta weigh the options.
You know, with the pod, a lot of people off mic.
Yeah, almost everyone.
Do I give him a chance?
Are you gonna beat cheeks with Mike?
I mean, if he wears those red glasses,
hey,
dog.
The red glasses with the beard, it's
rose-colored vision. You know what I'm saying?
I was about to say those are risen coded.
Dang.
Camera died. That's fine. That's fine. We're doing audio.
Okay.
Audio only.
Damn, we even had the plug right next to the camera.
Yo, where's Tiny Hawk? Have him plug it in. We're fine. Go ahead. Audio only.
I got two more options here. I don't know. I didn't want to kill Mike.
Yeah.
But Mike likes cats. And I'm highly allergic.
Ah, damn.
So, I don't know. I got a pretty fast draw.
Yeah.
Mike.
Sorry,
even
Mike.
The glasses couldn't save you, bud.
Sorry, bud.
Yeah.
Damn. So, okay. What does that mean?
I mean, when we were in Germany, Clayton told me to live Mass. And that's really spoke to me.
Hey, you know what? What happens in Germany? Stays inside of Clay.
Remember the jet boil?
Which one? Oh, dude, when you made the fucking peach cobbler.
When I made the peach cobbler?
Bro, honestly, I was convinced. I was convinced you were going to burn down Ollie's house, bro.
Yeah, I kind of was like, oh, fuck, I just like propane, like the highest version of propane in someone's house.
Was nuts.
Like, it's not an indoor stove.
It's not.
At all.
Bro, I don't even know how to describe the... It sounded like a fucking jet engine at like, what, 3 a.m?
Yeah, dude. 90 seconds until boiled. That's the claim to fame with jet boil. It boils really fast.
You were a beast with that, dude. And then, of all things, it's fucking peach cobbler.
Dude, it was dessert time.
That's crazy. Yeah, 3:30 in the morning.
Needed a sweet treat, you know, before bed.
John, that is actually
John
nuts.
Would know, dude. My favorite thing about being in Chicago is hanging out with John. And no matter what day it is, he always wants to get ice cream. And like this spot we go to serves a waffle cone, but like chips. So they're little triangles.
Yeah.
Like salsa your ice cream.
Salsa the ice cream.
Fuck, dude. Every time without fail, John will always want to go. And that's why he's my dog.
Hell yeah. Yep. There you go. Every time we go somewhere, Jake is always, you know Jake, right?
Yeah, I do.
Jake is always trying to be Mr. Healthy, Mr. This, Mr. That. When we travel, he eats like an absolute billy goat.
Really?
He fucking eats everything. And his thing is sweet treat. Bam. Eats like 5,000 calories in one sitting.
Dang.
It's crazy.
Dude, I had Italian beef tacos last time I was there. It was so sick.
Nash, I want to hear about your Italian beef tacos on another pod.
Are we doing this in Boston?
Oh yeah, part 2 in Boston.
Part 2 in Boston. Why not?
Hell yeah. Where can people find you online?
You can find me anywhere on Google. I'm sure you search my name, something will come up.
Something will come up.
And I don't know what version of me will come up.
Yeah,
The bike version, the fingerboard version, the art director version. You
the
will find
the behind the paywall version.
Yeah, the behind the paywall version.
Hey.
Don't forget to like and subscribe on my paywall page.
There you go.
You can find it. A lot of them start with F's, and you'll find it there.
There you go.
You can find me on Instagram at Sorry for Fingerboarding. You can find me on Threads, Sorry for Fingerboarding as well.
Hell yeah.
Sorryforfingerboarding.com, sorryfb.com. If you're
Damn.
lost, it will redirect you.
There you go.
And YouTube. My YouTube, this is a crazy story, is so buried by fans of the brand
It is.
that
it is
you
hard
cannot
finding
even find my page. And it's been
Yeah.
a nightmare since the day Sorry started, because people's vlogs like Garrett and Chubby and Kelsey and whoever else, yourself even, have gained such traction on a cool event.
Yeah.
You cannot find the channel.
Well,
Yep.
it's a good thing.
Yeah, I'm not even mad about it, because
There
I
you go.
make those edits and I post them just so I can find them fast on my phone.
There you go. Nash, always a pleasure. We definitely got to do this again.
Yeah, we will.
No
for
holds
sure.
barred, just round 2 in Boston.
Yep.
Thanks for doing this.
With lobster rolls.
Ooh,
You feel me?
I feel you.
Yeah.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yeah.
Damn.
Lobster rolls. We'll drink wine. We'll wear bibs.
Damn. Tuxedos?
Maybe.
Tuxedo shirts.
Tuxedo shirts, so they know we
Damn.
like to party.
There we go.
FingerCon 2025. I'll see you there.
Hell yeah. Sorry for fingerboarding. Bigspin podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Thanks so much.
Later.